Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only the best. I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win. I want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one. Working hella hard until I get just what I want, yeah. Rises like the sun, yeah, fatal like a gun. Shooters gonna shoot and I'm gonna shoot until I fall, yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only the best. I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win, yeah.
I used to feel like a rock, invincible. Inside my head, everything's impossible. Give me hope, give me strength, give me something. Anything that I could believe in. I recall the day I woke up early morning, the doctor on the phone. One more pill, one more night, hardly breathing. There's a stranger in my sky. Looked at me now, running in the dark. I'm just looking for a sign. Running in the dark. Why is this happening to me? Those words still ringing in my head. They shut me down. I spent weeks laying in my bed. Give me hope, give me strength, give me something. Anything that I could believe in. With this pain, so young and it feels empty. At me now. Running in the dark. I'm just
What's going on, everybody? So today is going to be a different kind of day. I always do the cold intro, and for the acting one, I didn't know if it'd be retarded for me to be like to be or not to be. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pass on the on the cold intro for the acting stuff, but it will definitely be back because I like it because it's different. It's different than what everybody else is doing. So definitely doing the cold opens some more. So now I got my main man Julio coming in. What's up, buddy?
What's happening, Derek? How are you this morning, this
good.
afternoon?
Yeah, wherever you are in the world.
Yep.
So in the private chat, you're like, I love the cold open. I'm like, I love it too, but I couldn't come up with something not retarded.
I would have popped if you would have done the Alas Poor You or some Shakespeare shit.
To be or not to be.
Whatever.
So this is going to be a deep dive. We're gonna get in deep, and I want to see your perspective as a fan and what your opinions are and what you look for as far as what you think good acting is. And then I'm going to go into the weeds on how I look at stuff as a fan, but also as a filmmaker and as a writer and as a director. So it's like it's going to be an interesting conversation because we're going to deep dive into some stuff.
Looking forward to it. I'm wearing my glasses because I've got notes. So
Oh, excellent. Cool. So so basically how I wanted to structure it is we're going to kind of go through the process of like if you're going to make a movie and what you're looking for. This is going to be like the beginning of this, okay? So and I'm going to talk about The Warrior, but I've got other scripts that I have written and that I've got percolating in my brain. So, but I'm going to go based off of The Warrior just because you can actually physically watch it, and I have clips that I'm going to bring up, and we're going to talk about it too.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, so at the beginning, you write the story, and how I do it, and everybody's process is different. My way is not the gospel of everything. Even though I do like my way. I'm not gonna lie. But when I want to write a story, okay, I make a simple outline. I say, okay, what is the story that I want to tell? And for me with The Warrior, it's a little kid that has cancer. I understand that I can't cast a 3-year-old kid and get any kind of performance of it a 3-year-old kid. I know this right off the get. I had cancer from 2.5 till I was about 9 or 10. When I finally went into remission, to final remission, I went in and out of remission a few times throughout the process, but that's sort of when I was quote unquote cured, if there's a term for that. So I going in, I knew that there was no way I'm going to be able to cast a little 3 or 4-year-old kid and get anything out of it. So it's like, okay, so I'm going to have to make my character or me 8 years old, and it's going to have to span through a time period. I'm not going to be able to touch 8 years, but if I can make it like a year, maybe 2-year process throughout the movie, that's how it's going to have to be done. It's because I can't do like the childhood movie where the kid is growing up through the years. I couldn't do anything like that, even though I was kind of going in that direction, not fully, but kind of. Because I had cancer in the 80s, it's like, okay, so modern technology is different now than it was back then. Unless you have a super big budget to make everything in the 80s, which is going to take a ton of money just for the art department alone to make everything just spot on 80s or basically 1989 and lower. So it's like, okay, so if I can make it 80s adjacent, I'm going to do that. So I put that on my timeline. I put that in my notes. So I've got a little kid that's 8 years old. I have a time period that's going to be the 80s, even though I don't quote unquote come out with saying that it's in the 80s. I guess I could have had some sort of titles at the beginning saying in the 80s, but it was like, I think it just didn't fit. I want
when I watched the movie, I got that vibe anyway. I don't think you got
that it was a different time period. It wasn't in 2025.
Right.
So okay, so I put that in my notes. Then it's like, okay, so I've got my character, and what do I want my character to say? What traits do I want my character to say? Obviously, I'm writing a story about me, so I know me. But I would basically say, okay, I like this, that, and the other thing. I look like this, that, and the other thing. My height, my weight, what I would like I like baseball, I liked our drawing, I liked sports, I like this, I like that. So I write all these down. So then it's like, okay, Dr. Hutchinson, he was my doctor. He was super serious at the beginning of my process, and then over time he became a friend. He became somebody that was a little bit more understanding of what was going on, and then he celebrated with us when I became, when I was quote unquote cured. You know what I mean? Where he came in and he broke down too, where it was like, it's over.
Well, it's makes sense. Long process for him too.
Yeah. So it's like, even though he's not going to be in the movie, but a handful of scenes, I want to convey that. So I put that in my notes. So all of these bullet points in my notes, I'm writing these characters as I'm just doing a simple outline. So when it comes to casting, I already have a vision of kind of what the person's going to look like. Not exactly what the person's going to look like, but kind of. Where it's like, I know what their race is going to be. I know what it like if it's okay. So my brother is 16 months older than me, but my brother isn't in the movie because a lot of times they kept him away from a lot of the stuff that was going on with me because you don't want a little kid seeing
No.
his brother dying.
Mhm.
So they kept him away. So it's like, okay, so I'm not going to have my brother as a background character, but if I can create a best friend that basically is my brother and has all the traits of my brother, but can come and go in the scenes seamlessly without it looking weird. It's like, who's that kid in the background? No, I want the kid to be I want him to be a major character in it, but
Mhm.
I can't call him my brother because my brother wasn't part of some of that process because it, you know what I mean? He's a little kid just like me, you know what I mean? Trying to figure life out. So
That's
I put that in my outline. So it's like all
Mhm.
this stuff I put in my outline to say what my characters are. Okay. So then when I go into the next step and I start securing locations and I start looking for my actors. What are my actors going to look like? What are they going to represent? Now, these Hollywood types, and a lot of them, I disagree with a lot of them, honestly, and how they perceive things. So like I wanted to have my mom have a strong character, not a feminist character. I grew up with a strong woman for a mom, a
Mhm.
strong woman for a grandmother. So it's like I had strong women in my life that they're not feminists. They're strong women that dealt with a lot of shit. And I wanted to show that and convey that. So it's like when I cast Ellie as my mom, I didn't want to, you know, my mom was a taller lady. She was almost 6 foot, and she was on the heavier side. And it's like I don't want to portray exactly what my mom's type was, because I have to make it appealing. But if
Yeah.
she has if the actress that I cast has the qualities, or you can see it when you're watching. So I went in and I started looking at audition tapes. I started going to these websites that have actors on it and stuff. And I was looking for certain types. And if they had a reel, that's good because I can see what they look like on camera. So a lot of people will do like blind auditions and hope that fucking a superstar walks in the fucking door.
Mhm.
No, I don't have the time or the money to be able to do that. I want to know what the person looks like on camera and how they talk. So when I found Ellie, I reached out to her and was like, "Hey, this is what the script is. You know, definitely read it. Let me know if you're interested in doing it." And I'm always upfront with actors. Like, you know, this is what it is. This is what the pay is. Like, I'm upfront with everything.
Mhm.
Either you want to do it or you don't want to do it. Like, it's no, like, I don't take it personal. If it's not for you, it's not for you. Like,
Sure.
not everything that I write is going to be for everyone. So, so I reached out to Ellie and I reached out to the actors. And one of the last people that I reached out to was the kids because the kids are probably the hardest thing to cast because I wanted a kid to make it look like that he didn't look like me, but kind of looked like me.
Mhm.
So when I found Griffin had been in a couple short films and he was in a couple short films. I saw a few things of what he looked like on camera. And it's like, well, he doesn't look exactly like me, but I could see where people were like, okay, yeah, this little kid kind of resembles Derek. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? So it's like that's why that was one of the first things I cast him. And then I had, you know, I had the best friend character when I met him, and he had the little lisp, and he had the whole best thing, but the best friend thing down.
Yeah.
I didn't see him as the main character. His dad or somebody else might have seen him as the main character. I didn't see him as that. I saw Griffin as that because I could see the potential in Griffin.
Mhm.
And now Griffin is fucking going places. We'll just say that I tapped into that resource early because I do know what talent is. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Yeah,
oh, so
he's doing other features. He's doing commercials. Like
oh, great.
Griffin is doing great. because like I said, I saw the talent in him. I saw that the effort that he was putting into it.
Mhm.
And he would go to his acting coach if he had a question about like how he does stuff, you know?
He was very charismatic in his performance, I would say.
Yes.
He stood out.
Was he raw? Was he uncomfortable at times? Yes, he's a little kid. He's an 8-year-old little kid.
Sure.
But I saw the potential in him. So, like I said, people will do blind auditions to try to find that one person. And then the LA types are always like, well, you need to have a name in there and you need to have an actor attached to it and all this other stuff. Like I get it, but then I don't get it because I want talent. I want talented people. Just because a person has a name doesn't mean that they're the greatest actor of all fucking time. I would rather cast somebody that is a solid actor that gets the part than somebody that's got a name that's not going to do anything other than just collect the paycheck for that day. And
Plus,
just
with the name comes expenses, I would imagine.
yes, because you have to pay all their SAG stuff, and then my whole production is SAG, and I couldn't afford it. Like, and I was straight up about that. And I had 1 or 2 people that I reached out to. You know, they were B and C actors basically, but they had some sort of name. You know, doing Hallmark Channel stuff and doing early 80s and 90s television films and stuff like that. I reached out to a couple of them. And I had one interest from one guy that was in Army Wives, and then he was in Remember the Titans, the movie Remember the Titans. And I reached out to him, and his rep said he was interested, but I'm crunching the numbers, and I'm like, I want him for one day, but I can't afford him. Because he's not going to work as a non-union person. So he would have made my production SAG. Which for an actor's, my quality might have went up a little bit because it's SAG actors, but I wouldn't have been able to afford it.
Right.
So it's like, okay, so I'm going to get the best actors that I can and not make it SAG. And a couple of the actors that are in the movie are SAG actors that worked off book. So,
okay, well, I didn't know that was, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I didn't know that was an option for a union actor that they could work.
Yes, they can work off book. Yeah.
Okay.
And I pay people in cash. I don't do nothing but pay them in cash. So
Gotcha.
Taxes, they're all that shit. And they'll work, and it's up to them to work off book. Okay. If it's a project that they're interested in doing. And then they're the woman that played my grandmother, not Lily, but the other one, Dolores. She's been around for a long time and knows a lot of people. And she helped me cast some of the secondary actors in it because she's like, well, I've got a couple actors friends that I think would be good for it. And I said, go ahead and, show me their work and I'll take a look at it. And a couple of them that she picked out were great. And a couple of them were not so great, but it is what it is. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like not everybody's going to work out or not everybody's going to fit what you're trying to do, So I had a little bit of help on the secondary characters and stuff like that. So, which sometimes happens. It's one of those things. But like going back to the Hollywood stuff is that's why I think that my movie's not getting the traction now that I think it should, because I don't have name actors in it. So studios are going to be like, well, he doesn't have anybody that's a name that we can push. I'm sorry. I go for talent. I go for telling a good story. And if that's not good enough, then tough shit. Honestly, tough shit. Your loss.
I think with your movie, the main star is the story. I mean, it's a true story. And like you said, you can't afford fucking Keanu Reeves, somebody.
Yeah, I can't, an A-list actor. But for what it is, it's good. I don't give a I'll stand by the shit every fucking day. It's good. And if people say that it's not, then you don't know anything about fucking movies, honestly.
I like it.
Anyway, so that's how my process is I want to see what somebody looks like on camera, on a reel, on whatever it is, so that I know what they look like on camera. Because some people might just look amazing in person, then when you get them on camera, it's fucking frightening. Or they're awkward, or they don't know what to stand.
Yeah,
like
we call it in music, we call it red light allergy.
Oh,
I've worked with singers who sing amazingly when you're not recording them. And the minute that red light comes on, they freeze up. Fortunately for us, I would point to the producer and go, hit record. Don't tell him, hit record. So we get some takes where the guy didn't know he was being recorded, and we're like, okay, that was great. We're done. He's like, you're recording? I'm like, good.
Excellent day. That's great.
Yeah.
So I do things a little different. And I have a couple scenes pulled up that we can watch.
Good.
And I can kind of walk you through them. And these are ones that made it to the movie. A lot of the footage I have, I'd have to re-download them into a different file, and it was a whole thing. So I was like, I'll just pull up a couple things to kind of give examples, you know.
At least we won't get copyright struck.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this first one right here. Let me get it. Let me get it squared away here. Okay, so to give context to the people that haven't watched the movie, is Derek the character has bullies a bully that's at his school that makes fun of him and pokes at him the whole time, tries to beat him up, and there's a moment where the little kid is walking down the street and these bullies take his bike and they punch him and they push him out of the way, and he goes home all crying and he's all hysterical. And Larry is doing the thing that my dad would do back in the day, is go to the parents' house and be like, what the frick is going on? Yeah. Like, deal with your fucking daughter, your son, or whatever. So this was a normal thing back then. I think in 2025, people are fucking bitches and don't do this anymore because they think that somebody's going to pull a gun on them. They're going to do all this other shit.
Right.
So that's the difference between then and now. So again, that's something that you have done back then, which is important to show in a movie that's in the 80s. You know what I mean? So this is what's happening, and the two kids that are on the patio are the bullies, and I had two kids that were in our neighborhood that were bullying me and my brother and pushing us off our bikes. So it's based off of a true events, and my dad went round and round with their grandmother a couple times. And we weren't there because my dad's just like, no, you stay in the house and I'll go talk to him. And the conversation was pretty much went nowhere because they were piece of shit people, white trash. The mom, the grandmother was drunk half the time, and that's what I wanted to convey in the movie. So this is what this is. And like I said, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yes?
Your grandson stole my son's bike and punched him.
Your son should be more careful.
Are you kidding me?
Michael! Raymond!
We're right here. What?
You guys know anything about this?
No, I wouldn't do anything like that. I don't even know.
I was in my room watching TV. Who even is this?
How did my son come home with scrapes and bruises all over him?
They said they didn't do it.
Okay, so one of the things as a director that I looked for in actors is, do I believe you? Are you who you're presenting your character to be? Do I believe you? And as an audience member, it's the same thing. We watched two movies yesterday. Charlton Heston. Do I believe that he is the characters that he is portraying on that screen? In both cases, yes.
He was amazing. Yeah.
He was amazing in both of them. I believe that he was those characters. I'm not looking at Charlton Heston. I'm looking at the characters that he played in those movies. Do I believe you? And in this scene, I believe every single one of these characters. Where I believe the dad is going there to figure out what the hell's going on, why his son's being beaten up. The two bullies are just laughing and joking it up and not taking it serious at all. The grandmother's just like, what? Like, what do you want? And they're laughing and teasing behind his back and everything else. I believe that these people are portraying the characters that they were given.
And as a viewer, those little shits made me angry. So, and the one kid, I will say, especially in terms of casting the kid with the long hair, looks like an asshole. So,
So when you watch this scene in the movie, you believe the characters, and you're like, this kid's an asshole. That's good. That's what a movie should do. It should evoke an emotion out of somebody. That is what storytelling is about. I don't give a shit about it because it's not an A-list actor. No, this is good storytelling.
Right. Now I want to see that kid get his comeuppance. You know what I mean? I'm like, somebody needs to knock this kid a peg down, down a peg or two.
But like I said, that's my job as a storyteller. My job in casting is doing exactly what it did to you, where it's like, man, this kid's a little shithead.
That's what it did to me.
And the stuff that I love as a director and as a person that enjoys working in the process of acting is the just the little stuff that most people don't follow. This right here.
You guys know anything about this?
No, I wouldn't do anything like that. I don't even know.
I was in my room watching TV.
Right there. When I was in my room watching TV, I don't know who this person is. The actor's doing. She's not sitting there waiting for her line, like, okay, he said his line, now I'm gonna do it. No. She was basically like motioning, like, see, he was upstairs. He didn't have anything to do with it. It's those little things.
See, that's
Those little
interesting.
things that light me up.
Listening to you say that, now that I'm watching it, I'm like, yeah, she already knew what he was going to say, so she didn't have to wait for him to finish saying it.
She's not waiting
react
for
to
her
it.
lines. She's reacting to what he's saying.
Also, I will say the minute I saw this woman on screen, I know that the dad was going to get nowhere. Just like, curlers and a drink, he's fucked. Yeah, forget it. Just walk away, dude. Got to go to plan B.
So you knew as an audience member that you're not getting anywhere with this lady because she's smoking, she's drinking, she's got the curlers. Her grandson and his friend are pieces of shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know this going in, but those little things, that's what makes a good actor.
Yeah, to me, this character here, this woman, she doesn't want to deal with anything. And if she admits wrong, then she'd have to deal with it. So she can just deny and not have to deal with it at all and get back to her smoking and drinking, which I can respect.
And there's a lot of beginning actors or people that are cosplaying as actors that don't do little stuff like this. They're waiting for their line, or they memorize the entire script for that day, and you can see them running through somebody else's lines and waiting for their line. Like, no, like
this comment.
Well, I'm sorry, Julia.
No, the comment you just made about cosplaying or LARPing as an actor leads into a note I wanted to ask you real quick. What some people watch movies and they go, they're just reading lines off a page. Anybody could do that. Like, what's the main reason they're wrong about that?
We talked about yesterday, about acting, about like if you want to be a cowboy, you have to learn how to ride a horse.
Okay.
If you want to be a spaceman, you better do some research in being a spaceman to play a spaceman on TV or the movie. Like, soak in as much information as you can. So it's believable. People believe that you are driving riding that horse. People believe that you are a spaceman. People believe that you are Charles Bronson and you're shooting a guy up there and he's falling down and all that stuff. Like it's doing your homework so that the audience believes that you are that person. Why do you think, like, I was watching a thing the other day about the Mighty Ducks and one of the kids, Joshua Jackson, he was talking about the Mighty Ducks and he went to hockey camp for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the movie. They had sent them to hockey camp. Why? Because it has to be believable that these kids know how to play hockey.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. But when you're in the industry as a young person, or you're new, or you've got a couple years in, you have to take your own ownership of your career and learn things that you want to convey on screen, that you know what you're talking about. You have to be believable. That's the biggest thing for me. If you're on screen, are you believable as that character?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously she's an experienced actress, so she knows what to do. She's good at improv. You can tell she's good at improv because of the whole, thing that she does, when the kids are talking. Like, you could tell that she has experience on what she does.
Yeah, the word I would use, she has confidence.
Yes.
Which is why she has the confidence to jump that line as opposed to waiting. She knows what she's doing, It comes from experience, like you're saying.
Exactly. And if I see what you've done on video or on a trailer or on your scissor reel, I know that you have the ability to do that. That's why I do it the way that I do it. You know what I mean? Like like as a director, as a writer, I have a character in mind, and then when I see somebody and what they've done and that they can convey an emotion from somebody, that I'm all over it. And that has nothing to do with it being an A-list actor. That has everything to do with somebody being experienced at what they do, and I believe what they do. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I guess an A-list actor would bring eyes to the project, I would imagine, but it
Yes.
wouldn't necessarily make the project better.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Just because there's a name attached to it doesn't make the fucking project better. And I think that over the years, and we watch a lot of older movies,
Oh yeah.
over the years, people have lost that sight. Why do you think that the Avengers have so many freaking stars? Because one person can't carry a fucking movie by themselves. So that's why they have to do an ensemble cast to try to maximize the amount of money that fucking movie brings in.
Yeah.
I love Robert Downey Jr., but can he do a movie by himself now? Probably not.
No, I wouldn't think so. But yeah, it's like stunt casting. I was watching a video the other day about voice actors, and they were talking about the Mario movie. And this is getting into your comment about name actors.
Yeah,
they cast all these name actors like Seth Rogen to play Donkey Kong or whatever, or Bowser or whatever. And I'm like, well, they could have just saved some money and hired voice actors, because kids are going to go see the movie because it's Mario. They don't care if it's Chris Pratt. So that's an example to me of, I don't think they brought any eyes to the project and didn't make the project better by
absolutely
spending money on actors. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Him being on the project doesn't make it better.
Mm-mm.
You could have got the fucking old voiceover guy from the original fucking video games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
whatever. So, okay, so that's sort of the process with me in the kind of the beginnings of how I approach a movie. Okay.
Mhm.
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna remove that, and then we're gonna check another one. Let me delete that just so I don't re-add it. Okay, so then this next one.
Derek, grab your things. We're leaving.
Miss
Let me rewind it here. Okay, so this scene, and I know you watched the movie, so I'm just talking about it for the audience, basically.
Sure.
And this scene is Larry has to go to his work because he's having problems with the union, and they're threatening to strike, and they're threatening to shut the doors, which actually happened when I was a little kid. And I think it happened, I want to say maybe 6 months my dad was out of work, and then they finally went back to the table, and Teamsters and the company renegotiated, and everything was fine. But it happened during a time where my dad didn't necessarily need the stress because he had a child that was sick.
Sure.
So I Hollywoodized it a bit, because I have to dramatize it. And even though this was a 6-month part, and I was sick for 8 years or 9 years, so in the screenplay, I have to Hollywoodize it a little bit,
Mhm.
and make it a little bit more bigger than that it is. But even though it was a big deal back then, you know what I mean? My dad was out of work for a short period of time. My mom was working for Wendy's, and she was working part-time at Wendy's. Like, people don't gotta understand is my parents were mid-20s when they have when they have a child that's dying of cancer. My parents were young.
Yep.
So I wanted to convey that in the story, and the characters is Ellie's in her 20s, Morgan's in his 20s, and I thought they did a great job where they made it a big deal with their emotions. And Morgan's not quite there with being able to cry on screen and everything. So he's still working on that, but I still think he did a great job. I think I did a fantastic job.
Ellie, who I'm assuming this is the actress you're talking about that played your mom, was excellent.
Yeah, she's
Like,
a star.
she was very, very good.
Yeah, there's no reason that she shouldn't be booking shit all the time. She's a star.
Good look too.
Yeah, she's got the look. She knows, like, there's a couple parts there's a scene in the movie where she's at a candy store just walking around, and a friend comes up. And how Ellie turns, where she turns toward the camera, and then when the friend walks away, how she turns away from the camera. She did that naturally. I didn't tell her to do that. She knew to do that because she's a good actor. She recognizes where to be on screen, where the light hits her, all that stuff. That's important. I worked with Tom Sizemore on a movie. I think I was a coordinator on it, and Tom Sizemore came for like a day and did a bit part for the director of the movie. He was friends with her, and Tom Sizemore came in there, and it was like he's standing there and he's doing his thing, and he's like, "Hey, can you move that light just a little bit over there?" He's like, "I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna walk over here." And they're like, "Okay." So they moved everything, and then they, they did a read through and everything else. But he knew right away, like, "Hey, can you move that light just a little bit? Because I'm gonna go right here." And they moved the light. Director said, "Let's go," and bam! Like he was aware of like what his place in the movie is, and where the light was hitting him, and what he was going to do as far as his motions that might have not been in the screenplay. They might have not said, "Hey, Tom Sizemore walks in here and he goes to the left and he does the shimmy shakes and all this other stuff." That may have not been in the script. You see what I'm saying? But he was self-aware as an actor that was a working actor for a very long time, and I think he's passed now. Tom Sizemore, pretty sure he's passed.
Yeah.
He was self-aware of what his role is, and as an actor, what he brings to the project, and that's how you have to be. So
I would imagine the director would appreciate that.
Oh yeah, that he can explain what he's going to do to the director, and the director can make a decision of, "Hey, I need you to do this, that, or the other thing." But he at least was courteousy enough to say, "Hey, this is what I was thinking," because he was only there for one day. It wasn't like he was there the entire time. So it's not like, he might have been in rehearsals for a little bit, but it was just like a one day, and he was out type thing. You know what I mean? So, okay. So this scene right here is she got bad news. Larry is out dealing with work stuff, trying to keep his job. And she's given bad news. And how I wanted to do it as the director is I wanted to have it all one shot. And we couldn't do it all one shot, so we had to break it up a little bit. So we had one shot going on the outside of the door with the two actors. Then I had then we did a camera that was on the inside when she opens the door. And then we have another shot where it's from behind her, following her. That way you can get the reaction of Cindy, the reaction of Derek, and then it goes and pans a little bit to the right where you can get the reaction of the nurse saying, "Mrs. Mullins, calm down." So we rehearsed all this stuff on set, because I was like, okay, I want to do it all in one shot. We couldn't do everything in one shot, so we kind of broke it up a little bit. But this is basically what happened once we kind of got what we liked and what we didn't like figured out in rehearsal.
Derek, grab your things. We're leaving.
Mrs. Mullen, you have to calm down, please. You're not making it any easier for your son, please.
Mom, I'm scared. You told me to lay down. Now we're leaving.
So there's another shot that comes in, and that follows that up where the doctor comes in and stuff like that. So, but it's kind of the same thing as, we had pre-production. I had a rehearsal with all the actors except for one or two that didn't show up. So we had an idea of like in rehearsal, and we did a read through for the script. That way that anybody that had questions about it could ask any questions that they had. So every time I see these videos that are like, well, the director took it in a direction that I didn't like, and the character, why did he do that with the character when they should have did this with the character? Or why did they cast a person that's white and they should have been a black person? And like all this other stuff, like that's all handled in pre-production. That shit before you show up on set.
Yeah, when I see actors do that after the movie's already been out, kind of bad mouthing it, then they're going into business for themselves, which is wrong.
Yes, they are. Yeah, they're assholes. They're
you took the money.
Yeah, yeah. The check cleared at the fucking bank. So all this politics or whatever the fuck these people do, like why? You already knew that going in. Like Rachel Zegler, and we played a clip a few weeks ago about it, where she was talking about like every time I step out as a Disney princess, I should be paid for every little thing and all this other shit. And it's like, you knew that ahead of time, and now you want to run your fucking mouth. that irritates the shit out of me. So it's like, yes, I don't have an A-list actor that's on my fucking movie, but the actors that I had on set were fucking amazing.
Yeah, and at least you don't have to deal with A-list bullshit that comes with some of the A-list actors. It seems like.
Yeah, and I think some of it's manufactured, and some of it there's some. I never got to work with like the superstars, but I worked with a lot of working actors that seem like they're in everything. They just don't have the name recognition. You know what I mean?
One of those. Hey, I know that face guy.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like a lot of those people were fucking cool as shit. A lot of them were. Some of them were dickheads, but a lot of them were super cool because they understood that they're not the top echelon of people, but they made a good career for themselves.
Yeah.
They're happy with what their arc of their career is. You know what I mean?
That seems like a comfy position to be in, making a living doing what you like acting for these people, but being able to go out in public and not worry about getting harassed all the time.
Absolutely. So yeah, so I never there was only a couple actors that were kind of douchebaggy. But for the most part, they were nice. You know what I mean? Like Jean-Claude Van Damme, he said hi to everybody, but then I heard from the second that he was doing blow in his trailer.
I would have been disappointed if he wasn't. I expect that out of Jean-Claude.
Which kind of ruined my childhood. Thank you, Jean-Claude. Thank you. So that's sort of the process. With that scene is it was rehearsed before we started shooting it, but we had a read through, so everybody had an idea of what their character was. And the one that played the doctor, the only notes that I ever had for him is I need you to be a little bit more authoritative, because he was playing the character like at first. When we were doing read throughs, he was doing it a little bit too nice. And it's like, no, I need you to be like authoritative. You're not a dick, but I want you to be like, like this is what it is. Your child is going to die if we don't do anything. He came across a little bit too nice, but other than that, he freaking nailed it. And I thought I had a scene pulled up, maybe I don't, where he messed up his line and he went like this, and he was like, "Dang it!" Like he knew he messed up because he's a perfectionist. And in the art of acting, you should be cognizant of your craft. That's what you do. And he got a little upset at himself when he didn't quite nail it, which as a director, I appreciate that stuff.
Let me ask you a question.
He's taking his role and his job seriously. You know what I mean?
Does that situation ever happen in reverse as a director? Are there times where you'll shoot a scene and at the end you're like, "Fuck, I fucked up. Sorry, you gotta do it again"? I mean, is that
maybe a camera angle or a battery goes out on a camera, or all of a sudden a light turns off? A lot of stuff like that will happen. But we'd already did 2 read-throughs, and then we always do a rehearsal before we start rolling. That way everybody knows where they're standing and everything.
So you'd have worked it out by the time
correct.
you okay.
So we've already worked it out. So the actors have a pretty good idea of what their character is before we even started shooting.
Okay.
And then as far as the placement, sometimes you have to make adjustments based off of the location that you're at. So it's like you can have it in your mind, like, okay, I want to have a 2-shot where they're standing here, and then I want a camera here, and I want a camera here, and then over here, and I want to do this. But then you get on location, the location sometimes doesn't give you exactly what you want. So you have to improvise a little bit. You have to be cognizant and say, okay, I have it this way in my head, but we're going to have to tweak it just a little bit because the location's not giving us what we want. And there was 1 or 2 times that I had, I was B camera and Aaron was A camera. And the shot that I had wasn't as good as his shot. And I kind of knew that, but it's like, well, I'm just going to roll. And if something cool comes out of it, then I'll just roll and I'll get something cool. You know what I mean? So stuff like that happened. But as far as like things working and not working, that's handled in pre-production, and it's also handled during, when you're doing the run through before you start shooting the scene.
Okay. Makes sense.
So, okay. So let me get rid of this one, just so I don't accidentally open it up. Okay. So this one is a restaurant scene. And when I was probably 5 or 6 years old, and this is probably why I don't have no fucks to give as an adult, because of shit like this. where this literally happened, where we went to a restaurant and people were staring at me because I had big stuff on my face,
Mhm.
bruises and stuff, because that's what leukemia is. It's a cancer of the blood, so you bruise pretty easily. And the we we overdid the makeup a little bit on his face because I wanted it to show up on camera, because if she did it too light, you wouldn't be able to see it. So I wanted to exaggerate it a little bit so that the camera would pick it up.
Okay.
So there's no other scenes where it's that bad, but I kind of had to do it because
Mhm.
I have to show where he's bruised, so that that's why people are staring at him.
Yeah, it's
So
better to overdo it just a tad as opposed to underdoing it to the point that nobody gets it.
that's correct.
Watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
And nobody's deadpanned me on it or anything like that. So, nobody's ever said anything like that. But that's why I did it, is because I had to over exaggerate it because it has to show up on camera. So there's
See,
stuff
when
like
I
that where you have to there's a give and take,
when I watched this scene that I'm assuming you're going to show,
Yeah.
my feeling while watching it was feeling bad for the parents. Like, oh God, what's everybody thinking? Clearly it goes to the other patrons think they beat the kid up or whatever, and so that
Yeah.
was
So
my
this actually happened where we got a bunch of stares and everything else.
Mhm.
And the couple, when they walk in the door there, the couple that's sitting there staring, that's Griffin's parents.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably said, hey, while you're sitting around doing nothing, watch it.
I was like, hey, you guys want to be extras? Just stare at him like he's a weirdo. Like, okay. we do that all the time anyway.
Naturally, right?
It's natural. It's natural. So okay, so let me add
How
this.
was school, bud?
And it always likes to start like right when I pull it up. Okay.
How was school, bud?
You don't want to talk about it.
You're gonna have to figure something out. You gotta go to school. Everyone is staring at us.
It'll be fine.
Hey, Cindy, 3 today?
Yeah.
Can I have french fries?
No, because remember your medication.
Dang it. It's not fair. I just want french fries.
I know, I just find something else, okay?
But there isn't anything else.
Derek, listen to your mother.
Do I have to hit you again? I mean,
I just want french
your mother.
fries.
Derek, that's enough. Really? I amuse you? My family amuses you.
Is everything okay?
No, it's not. Okay, I have busybodies listening to my conversations. They think we hit our son.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's okay, Cindy. I'll go talk to the manager.
It's fine, we're leaving. Come on, get up. Ma'am, we're gonna go home, just in case you care.
Dear Diary, today everyone stared at Derek, wondering if we beat him or if we feed him. I hate all of them. I love.
But yeah, so that's it. So I love this scene. This is such a good scene where there's so many moving parts to it, where you have your background actors, you have the people that are staring at him, and Ellie's reacting to people that are staring, and she sees them staring. It's absolutely great. It's one of my favorite.
so
And even though Morgan and Griffin don't have too many lines, this scene is more about Cindy and being not fed up, but kind of fed up,
Mhm.
where she's lashing out at stuff that she can't control. So that's why I absolutely love this. And it the actors did absolutely, and Ellie did such a fantastic job reacting to the people that are looking at her.
So I have
Because-
an artistic
I'm sorry.
question about this
Yeah.
scene. So I'm pointing at the screen like you can see what I'm pointing at, but the two people staring at them are staring at them, but not everybody's staring at them. Do you, as a director, go in and say, all right, you, and you are going to look and stare at them, but you guys just read the menu and
Yes.
okay, okay.
So I walked up to him and said, okay, hey, do you want a close up? Because I want to have you guys staring at him and making it obvious that you're staring at him.
Mhm.
And then Cindy is going to react to you. Most of the people in this scene are most of Griffin's family, cousins
Oh.
and uncles and parents and all kinds of stuff. Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So they showed up for us on that day because I talked to his mom and she's like, well, I have a bunch of relatives that would love to be in it. And I said, okay, we're going to have them in a restaurant. And they're going to stare at Derek. I mean, that's pretty much what they're going to do. And I was like, I'm not going to have them, reciting lines and like, all this shit, because they're not trained actors. But it's like, I want you guys just to make it uncomfortable. That's the whole part of the scene. And they all did fantastic.
Yeah.
They did all great. So yeah, this is just, like I said, this is another example of knowing the flow of the scene, the actors understanding their characters and understanding that that people are staring at them, and the reactions that you would do if somebody in real life was staring at you. Is it believable? And it is. It's completely believable. A little kid's wanting to eat French fries and can't have salt because of all the medication, which actually happened. I couldn't have anything that had salt in it because salt thins your blood, and I had already thinned my blood enough where they're working on my leukemia. I would have died if I had salt.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, that was a thing where it was like, all this stuff was happened in my life at some point, and I believe the characters. I believe that these people and that little kid are parents and son.
Yeah. Well, she has a very motherly way about her. I don't know if that's because of her acting, just because of her.
Yeah.
But she looks like a mom.
She's from the Midwest, and I don't think she has kids, but yeah, she definitely has a mom quality about her.
Mm-hmm.
But as a person that's watching, as you guys are watching it, like, what did you think about this scene? Was it believable?
Yeah, I thought it was very believable because, listen, I've got kids. I've been in situations where my kid maybe as a baby was screaming in a restaurant because they do that sometimes.
Acting up and stuff?
Yeah, and you just, as a parent, you're like, ugh. You kind of, people start looking at you and you start to feel a little odd. Now, different situation. They didn't have bruises on their face, but
yeah,
like I said, I kind of sympathize with the parents during this scene, thinking about how awkward it must have felt for them. And her decision just to say, screw it, we're out of here. As opposed to being stoic and ignoring it.
Yeah, that's great. And as a creator, as a writer, as a director, that's what I want. I want you to feel some sort of way about the scene.
I took it like the mom just is sapped of strength and doesn't even have the strength to sit there and deal with it. She's like, you know what? I don't have any energy to deal with
like the fuck's given or done. Like,
yeah, she's like, we're just leaving.
Yeah, like we're leaving. We're out of here. Mm-hmm. And the girl that played the girl that played the waitress, she played it off perfectly too. Her reactions was just like, I'm so sorry, Cindy. I'm so sorry. Let me get the manager. And then, the look that she gives when Cindy walks by her was just gold. Again, I prefer somebody that's good at their craft versus somebody that is got a name and is not good at their craft or has special attention because they have a name and they're not good at what they do, or they're average. There's a lot of people out there, in my opinion, that are average actors that are superstars or have a name. They're average.
So if an A-lister had become involved in your project, do you think that could have wound up in a situation where the relationship was more the actor going, well, you need me more than I need you?
I think so.
Yeah. Whereas like this lady, Ellie, clearly is taking this seriously. Like she's doing her job.
Yeah.
As opposed to an A-lister would go, well, it might have been a bad take, but that's what you're getting. What are you?
If I got one A-lister and a bunch of people that were theater actors or they did improv or something like that, that one A-list actor is going to think that you need me more than I need you.
Now, would that affect the other actors too? Because the
morality.
Like oh shit, this guy's here. I better. They're playing to him more than they'd be playing for you, I guess. Maybe.
It's possible. I mean, it's possible. But it depends. I mean, if it's a B-list actor or something versus like if Tom Cruise showed up for a day, you know what I mean?
Well, that would have been cool.
That would have been cool. But I'm just saying is like, I can only assume. I don't know, but I choose people because they're good at their craft, not because they've got a name. Even though it'd be nice to have a person that has a name on there that would sell more units. But I'm sorry, I don't compromise. I don't compromise my art to satisfy a quota that's not going to do anything but not make my movie better. because that's what I want to do. I want my movie to be the best it can be. You know what I mean?
Oh
And
yeah. Anybody in any creative process, whether it be art, music, movies, want their product to be the best.
it's
it can
probably
be.
selfish. I'm not going to say that I'm not selfish when it comes to shit like that. I'm
That's
not going
not
to say that.
selfish. That's not being selfish. That's being creative. It's like
Yeah.
when I write a song, like, well, this is my song. So here's how it's going to go. Here's the guitars go here. The keyboards go here.
Yeah.
You have to be, I guess some people would see that as selfish, but I don't. It's about trying to get the vision that's in your mind out into reality.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And the one thing that actors are supposed to do that my actors decide not to do is promote. That's part of your job as an actor.
That's
Is to
unfortunate.
promote the movies that you're in. I don't understand why people think that they have to have their hand out to promote. You're in the fucking movie. You're carrying the movie.
Mhm.
I don't understand that aspect of the actors. That's the
Right,
that's
as an
one part
actor-
of it that I don't understand.
As an actor, wouldn't you want people to watch you act?
Oh,
I mean-
absolutely.
I mean, that's, I mean, I think I've told you my first wife was theater school,
Yeah.
did carpentry and stuff.
Okay.
So I hung out around a lot of theater kids. And believe me, my takeaway was all they want is people looking at them all the time. So you would
That's
think
true.
that professional actors would be the same way. Like, hey, come see my movie. You know, I'm a lead in it.
Which
Like,
has
it's not-
not happened because I look at the fucking numbers. I look at them. I know who's promoting, who's not. Like Griffin and his family has been promoting the shit out of this movie. Some
I
of the
like
act-
that they got involved.
Yeah, some of
they
the other
offered to help.
actors, not so much. And it's like you can't go on a podcast. You can't. I mean, that's part of your job as an actor is to promote it.
Would have been nice to have her on this show, to be honest
Yeah.
with you, or something.
I'm gonna ask a couple of the actors and see if they can come on. I'll definitely do that.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Get the actor's perspective.
Yeah, it'd be great. But yeah, that's one thing that I don't know if it's an actor's feeling in general, or if it's an indie actor where they don't feel that promoting is part of their job.
Well,
'Cause
okay,
like
so
a
let me
professional actor, like a major movie, it's in their contract that you have to promote.
play devil's advocate here, and you can, of course, tell me how I'm wrong. But if you're an indie actor, you're probably not making a living off of acting, so they've got, I would imagine, full-time jobs to deal with. So maybe that's part of the problem. Is time. Maybe.
True. I mean, I have a full-time job and I find a way to do it.
Yep.
But you're right. I think it's definitely that. And some of them probably have families, which could be that also, you know. But you can at least take 15 minutes out of your day to throw up on Instagram or promote the shit out of it. Go on a podcast every once in a while.
That's
Like
true.
that's the part that I still haven't figured out when it comes to acting. That is part of your job, and a lot of actors don't like doing it. I want to blast this shit out to the fucking world because I think it's a great movie. It's a great story. People can relate to it. It's not like I'm writing a horror movie about a little kid that kills his family or something like that.
Right.
Like most people in society in the world have family members that get sick, either cancer or heart disease or lupus or whatever it is. Everybody has that person that they know that gets sick and how it affects their family. And that's what this movie's about.
Or even if you don't have that experience yourself, you generally know some. Like one of my closest friends, him and his wife have a child who's 7 years old who has never gotten up or lifted his head. He has
Aw.
hydrocephalus, so he's just on a mat all day, can't talk, nothing. And so I see what it. Yeah. I didn't mean to drag the show down, but I'm just saying I don't get it personally, but I've seen it.
how he is and how it affects his family.
Sure.
That's interesting to me. And telling the story is interesting, you know?
Yeah. Even my role as his friend for decades, like just kind of being there and trying to stay, positive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyways.
So yeah, that's sort of like the going into the weeds a little bit when it comes to the lawyer and my process and how I look at things. And people call me a movie snob, and yes, I am, because there's certain things that I enjoy.
Right.
There's certain ways that actors handle themselves in a scene, or are they believable? or are they just somebody that's on screen reading lines? You know what I
Everybody
mean?
who's passionate about something is snobby about it.
Yeah,
You
that's
with
true.
movies, me with music. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so then now I've got a handful of videos that we can kind of react to,
Okay.
and a couple of them are kind of famous auditions
Oh,
that we can kind of comment on.
all right.
Of people that were in prominent roles and in a movie that was a very successful movie. So I kind of want to get your take on it, and then I'll kind of give my little take on it. So let me see like what we can start off here. Okay, we'll do this one first. This was actually pretty good.
I will give you my layman's take.
Okay, so this one is, where are you? Oh, here. Okay, and I know this is a girly movie, and a bunch of guys have been dragged through the decades to watch this movie with their girl. Is The Notebook.
Oh God, yeah.
But this shows the scene and then the audition of Rachel McAdams, if that makes any sense.
Mhm.
So it sort of does kind of a comparison of what she auditioned with, and then what the scene turned out to be. So it's actually kind of a cool thing.
Okay.
So as a person that enjoys movies,
Mhm.
what do you think about that audition?
All right. I'll start with this. She's drop dead gorgeous. First off,
That helps.
I thought she was great, really excellent. And the part of her I noticed most are her eyes. I was fixated on them while she was acting. I thought it was great. Now, was the guy she was playing off of, was he the actor too, or was he just?
No, I think he might have. He's probably casting.
Oh, okay, good, because he sucked.
Yeah,
That
probably
makes-
casting. He's just reading lines.
But she was. I think that was excellent.
She was believable in an audition.
Mhm.
I pictured this character. If I'm the one reading the lines, and I have an actress come up to me that does this, where do I sign up at?
Yep.
She was
Plus,
believable in the audition. Can you imagine what she's going to be like in the movie?
Yep. And it's on a personal level. I've had discussions with women, not this particular one, but where that, like, I was seeing a couple women that I've talked to when I was younger in her, like just the emotional reaction when they're scared, which is kind of what I get she's going for. She seems afraid. But no, I thought she was great.
There's conversations in real life that I have with people that I don't believe. I believe that they're a LARPer when it comes, and they lie
Yeah.
through their fucking teeth to make them look out to be the hero. In this, I don't get that. She shows vulnerability,
Mhm.
and the reaction that she has on her face in her audition knocks it out of the freaking park.
Yeah, it's a very feminine portrayal.
Yes. I wouldn't say that she's a fantastic actress, because she's had kind of a inconsistent career.
Mhm.
I'll probably say it's been inconsistent, but this audition is fantastic
Mhm.
because she comes across real. She comes across authentic, and she's acting and doing a part. That, in my opinion, that makes good acting.
Mhm.
Because the audience is going to pick up on that. You picked up on that.
Mhm.
As
Yeah.
somebody that watches movies, that enjoys movies, storytelling, and etc., you picked up on that she came across real in an audition.
I must admit, I feel a little bad that my first comment was she was really pretty, but that was my first reaction. Basically, like I was
She's
like,
gorgeous.
I'd love to
Yeah.
see more of her on screen. If she's in the movie, I'm happy watching it.
Come on, she's gorgeous. So
Yeah, amazing. I mean, she's my type too. Like,
yeah.
the T.
But yeah, when I'd seen this, I saw this a while ago, and then I brought it up for the video. Like, it blew me away how engaged she was,
Mhm.
how much she understood the character that she was playing, the emotion that she brought. She could tear up, like she wasn't crying, but you could see she was welling up during that time, because she has some sort of connection with the character. She's not just showing up to an audition.
Sure.
That's what makes a good actress. There's LARPers and people that actually take their craft seriously. She took it seriously.
And I guess that kind of goes back to my question earlier. What makes it like when people go, well, I could do that. I guess they would be the LARPers, where actually there is
Correct.
some work to be put in.
because they're trying to be famous. They're not actually trying to have a reputation. They're not trying to develop their craft.
I think it's the talent that goes into acting is far more subtle than it is in other creative, like music. I always go back to it because I'm a musician. So
Yeah,
that's
no, it's all
all
good.
right. So if I go to a show and I see fucking Eddie, well, I wouldn't see Eddie Van Halen now, but let's just say I'm back in the
Pretend.
90s.
Yeah.
I look at him and go, there's no way in hell I could do that. That's whereas acting, you don't kind of get that when you watch somebody. You just go, oh, they just walk in, they read lines, look good, and go
Oh, they're
home.
just an actor. Oh, they
Yeah. And
because-
same with artistry, like painting. I look at a painting, I'm like, fuck, I couldn't do that,
because people see the perception of what Hollywood is, and TMZ, and and some of these crazy actors saying dumb shit. That's what they perceive. This is what I care about. I care about the actual, the nuts and bolts talent of people, the storytelling.
It must
it will
bother
be
you
emotion
that that's
from
not the
somebody.
focus on
Most
this
people don't give a
industry.
shit. Yeah, most people don't give a shit. It's about how many dollars and cents I can get, and I don't give a fuck about this project.
Plus, as an audience, they're not as passionate as you are about your creativity or I am about mine. They don't
Yeah.
see the work that goes into it. They don't care as much. They care about, oh, that's an interesting story. I'll go follow that.
Which I wish people would. I wish people would appreciate stuff more. Unfortunately, they don't.
I agree.
And I'm not saying they have to be a fanboy or fangirl, but I wish that people would appreciate talent and authenticity. If that's probably the word to use for it.
Yeah,
I wish
being-
people would appreciate stuff more. And people don't.
Authenticity, being genuine. But
Yeah.
there's nothing better, Derek, I'm sure. When I play a song to somebody that's finished and they pick up something like, ooh, the strings are nice there. That's a nice subtle touch. When somebody hears with those types of ears, I'm very appreciative. I'm like, shit, they got it. Like that was what I was going for. Most people, they don't hear the little subtleties like that.
Yeah. Do you think it's because people are just so busy and don't care, or do you think they're just not a creative person and don't understand the process of that side of
The latter,
uh,
I think.
you
think
think
it's-
it's
they
kind
just-
of both?
Yeah, as somebody who's so attached to the creative process like you are and like I am sometimes, is I guess we have to understand that some people don't have the eye for it or the ear for it, or it's just not their passion. So they're not listening for the little nuances that we think are so important. I mean, I'll spend an hour on a note. Should it be this note or that note? But 90% of the people who listen they wouldn't notice the difference.
Yeah. As long as those notes strung together come up with something
Yeah.
that they like.
Yeah, and I can't even get mad at that because can't blame people for not.
Yeah, I can't blame people either. It's just that's just one wish that I wish that people would appreciate stuff more.
Yeah.
I think without getting not getting political or anything, but just in life, people need to start appreciating stuff more as opposed to tearing it down and saying it sucks. And acting in
I agree.
Hollywood is the same thing. You know what I mean? Like
And
there's
understand
a bunch
how
of fucking weirdos. Don't get me wrong, but there are some good things out there.
and also understanding how, lack of a better term, precious the creative process is, that there are people, including us, that this song doesn't exist in the world. And then it enters my brain and now it exists. It's an amazing process to go through.
Yeah.
And I think it's regardless of the outcome, I think the process in itself is inspiring to begin with.
And do you think that people would appreciate more, whatever it is, if you're a candy maker, if they saw the process? Do you think people would appreciate it more, or do you think people just think it's boring and move on?
No, I know they would appreciate it more because I when I had a music studio,
Like they can actually see it, or they can actually hear it for themselves.
we would have buddies come over just to hang out,
Mm.
drink a couple beers, watch the band, and they would see us going through or usually it was me or somebody leading the band. Hey, that should be this there. And I think I heard from a couple of them like that was really interesting. Like I'd never seen, a band go through that. Just like if I went to one of your movie shoots, I'd probably learn all kinds of stuff. Like, holy smokes, that's a lot of detail that goes into it. I
Yeah.
would have never thought of.
Where to stand, where the light hits, your lines. If
Yep.
something doesn't sound correct, then changing the line so it does sound correct.
Yeah, but
So
I would have a head start on understanding your process, I think, Derek, because it's somewhat similar to my process when I write
Yeah.
stuff. So I would kind of get it. I'm like, okay, I see he's going for some sort of nuance here. And
It's kind
I
of
may
a
not understand the
symphony.
particulars, but I would. What's that?
Yeah, it's like a symphony. It's like being a
Yeah.
conductor in a symphony. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes you got to trust other people to play the violin right, which is while you conduct.
And there are people that get on set and still are clueless of what they're supposed to be fucking doing, even though you sat everybody down, you did a read through, then you did blocking, and some people just don't understand. They don't get it. Which unfortunately those actors probably don't make it, or they kind of fizzle out. You know what I mean? Because
I
they
would
just
think
don't.
part of an actor's success, in addition to their talent and their looks, is being an actor that people want to work with, which I would
True.
think means show up on time, do your work off hours to prepare, and come prepared. So a director would talk to another director and go, you know what? I directed this actress and she was great. You should use her. She's, it's like networking.
Yeah. I mean, there's some actors that are kind of crazy about it. Like Morgan Freeman, when he's on set, it's go time. Like he takes it completely serious. And
All
everybody
right,
has to put
right.
their phone away. Their phone has to be away, or production will take it when Morgan Freeman's on set, because he takes he takes his process very, very seriously.
I respect that. Good for
Yeah.
him. And he's got the pull to do it.
Absolutely. He's got the resume to do it. Fantastic actor. But okay, so we got about a minute and a half left of this one. But yeah, pretty great stuff. Pretty great stuff.
They should have left her hair short in the movie.
Yeah, I think they should have too.
Look cuter.
Yeah, she looked a lot cuter in short hair. Any other opinions about that clip?
No, just that it, again, kind of echoed conversations I've had with women in the past. Just the reaction that it was very believable.
And Rachel McAdams, she could have been in a bad breakup or something. So she used some of that energy and some of those feelings toward that. So she could have had some sort of bad breakup or something like that. So she kind of channeled it a little bit, but it came off very authentic.
I also saw a part in that argument that, again, reminded me of arguments I've had where she's kind of out of the ability to process what she's trying to say, and she kind of looks to him for an answer.
Yeah.
And she didn't say it, but I felt it in the way she looked at the camera. It was almost like she didn't say help, but that's what I felt watching her.
Yeah, sometimes your motion, sometimes your eyes, sometimes your facial expressions. It's just sort of like Julio, like, you're not giving me what I want. You know what I mean? Like that type of stuff where like you don't have to say a whole lot to actually convey a message, which I love that stuff. I eat that stuff up as a creative person, as a writer. I'm just like,
great.
That's great.
I've never really, I don't watch a lot of movies. I've watched in my life. I've watched just because I've been around forever. So I've watched a bunch, but I've never done this, watch a short clip and really do a deep dive into it, which is fine. I find interesting. You talk about this, like when I play a song for my friend, I'm like, oh, listen to this. Listen, that came in a beat early. That's, trying to educate him a little bit. So I feel like I'm being educated here.
It's cool. Yeah, because we had talked about the show, weeks ago, and you're like, well, I'm not a filmmaker, but I can give you like a fan's experience. And that's what I want. I want to see somebody else looks at it differently than I do. And does it evoke an emotion from you as a storyteller? That's what I want.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I want. So, okay. So this one is a really, really famous audition, and it's Henry Thomas auditioning for E.T. I don't know if you've ever seen this or not.
I haven't seen the audition. No.
So everybody aspires to get Henry Thomas as the kid that is auditioning for your movie, or maybe Macaulay Culkin walks in the door and knocks it out of the park for you as a little kid. But this just makes you just melt, and just he's a little kid, so he doesn't have life experiences to go off of. So I'm always curious with it is like, okay, so he's a little kid, he doesn't have a whole lot of life experience, but where is he bringing that emotion from?
Yeah.
Where is it coming from? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or is it just a natural reaction that he would have if he lost a pet? Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe he was thinking about like if my dog died, like what would I feel if my dog died?
Yeah.
You see
So
what I'm saying?
impressive that he's able to do it without his dog actually having died, assumingly.
Assumingly, yeah.
Like he's
yeah.
too young to have gone through enough pain to be a good emoter.
Correct.
And there's a knock on your door, and a man comes in, a grown man, not your brother. And he's from NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. And he has found out that you have a creature. He doesn't know exactly what, he has found out you have a creature in your closet. A creature that he's been looking for a long time. And you've had this creature now for 3 or 4 weeks. You become best friends with it, and he wants to take the creature away. And he's come with a search warrant, and he's come with permission to take the creature away. And you're not going to let him. Okay? Okay, not going to.
Now, young man, I understand that you have an alien somewhere in this house. Is that true?
So have you seen E.T.?
Oh, sure.
Okay, let's make it sure.
In the theaters.
I saw it in the theaters too. And I've seen it a million times. I love E.T.
Well, is it true? Is there an alien in this house?
Yes, sir.
Well, as you know, I am from the government. I'm part of the United States government, and I am empowered to take that alien with me.
But you can't take him away. He's mine.
Well, but the government is bigger than you are, Elliot. And I have all the authority to take him, and I gotta tell you, I'm gonna take him.
You can't take him.
Well, I'm afraid I have to, son.
You can't take him away. He's mine.
But it's not my choice. The president asked me to come here and get him.
I don't care what the president says. He's my best friend. And you can't take him away.
Holy smokes.
It's real possible, Elliot, that he'll come back and you can have him again. But we just want to talk to him and see where he came from.
What the wild part is Henry Thomas really didn't have that good of a career as an actor.
I was going to ask you whatever happened to him. I never heard.
Exactly. Like, where is this coming from? This is one of the greatest auditions of all time. Like, where is this coming from?
He's killing it. One thing I noticed is at the very beginning when he's getting the instructions,
yeah,
it looks like he's getting it when he's just listening.
It's like processing. You can see him processing.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing.
From it. Try to find out about other planets. And he probably is the key to a lot of things that we have to know.
But how do I know you're going to bring him back?
Well, I'm afraid, son, I can't guarantee it.
I think he's afraid of you.
That may be true, but the government tells me what to do, and I just follow their orders.
Well, he's mine, and he lives with me, and he likes me. And he wants to stay here. He likes it here.
Well, we wouldn't hurt him or anything. All we want to do is talk to him.
But I don't want you to take him away.
You know, I've had to talk to your mom about it, and she knows that the government has the right to do it.
And who told you all this?
Well, we learned about it. We know that he's somewhere around here. I mean, I do have a search warrant. I could look around the house.
Tell me to keep the eye. Right. Tell me to keep.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you let me talk to him for 5 minutes, I'll tell my boss that you can keep him. Would that be okay with you, if I could just talk to him for 5 minutes? Would you feel better then? Would you be happy if you could keep him if all I had to do was talk to him for 5 minutes?
Liar! You're a liar.
No wonder this guy's career went nowhere. He peaked at this audition. I mean, how can you get better than that?
So, yeah. The question I always have with that is, where did he get the energy, or where did he get the emotion from? He's what, 7 years old, maybe?
I can't think of anything that would have made me cry on demand at 7 years old. I mean, if something happened, I would have cried, but I wouldn't have been able to imagine something so terrible happening that I would burst out into tears.
Yeah. And he's like, he's not welling up. Like, he's literally got tears flowing down.
Yeah. Fucking nailed it, that kid.
So, yeah, Henry Thomas, I think he did some stuff, but it's like, how do you do something that great and then the rest of your career is just kind of like,
You're right. The director probably watched that audition. It's like, yeah, that.
yeah,
Do that.
That's him.
Perfect.
Let's go.
Done.
Tell the other kids to scram. Read it, kid. But yeah, that's a wild clip. That one's been on the internet for a million years. And every time I watch it, it blows me away of where the emotion comes out of that kid. Because he doesn't have a whole lot of life experience to be able to just pull it out. You know what I mean?
I'd like to interview him just for that audition. That's an interesting question. Like, how did you do that?
Yeah. Did you imagine that your little turtle or your dog was killed or being taken or something? That's the only thing I can think of is
Kid's a natural, maybe.
yeah. But yeah, I every time I watch that, it just kind of blows my doors off. Like, what is going on right now? Okay, so this one is did you ever watch the show House?
Here and there. I'm familiar with it, and I've watched
I love that. That
one
was
or two
one of
episodes.
my favorite shows. So this is Hugh Laurie, and Hugh Laurie is not American. He's not from the United States.
No.
But to have him turn it on and off the accent that he is from the United States is fascinating to me. So that's why I kind of pulled this clip up, just because it's just being able to turn it on and turn it off. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That is definitely part of acting that a lot of people can't do. They can't do different accents. They can't switch it on and switch it off. It's either on or off. There's no switching it back and forth. You know what I mean? I don't know if in the music business, it's the same thing where if somebody's going to be a rock star, they're a rock star. There's no turning it on and off.
Yeah, that's true. The true rock stars are always 24/7.
Like, going nuts. So let me share this. And I tried to keep these clips short. That way we got an option, like keep them short so you can see what I'm talking about without it just being too boring. So that's why I've been trying to keep them, a couple clips. I think there's one clip that's kind of long that we can kind of fly through, or two clips. But for the most part, I kept them kind of short.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It's a good idea.
But things are not going too well lately. Anyway.
I was expecting you in my office 20 minutes ago.
Really? That's odd, because I had no intention of being in your office 20 minutes ago.
Well, you think we have nothing to talk about?
No, I just can't think of anything I'd be interested in.
I sign your paychecks.
I have tenure. Don't you gotta grab my cane, stop me from leaving?
Well, that would be juvenile, wouldn't it? I can still fire you if you're not doing your job.
I'm here from 9 to 5.
Your billings are virtually non-existent.
Rough year.
You ignore requests for your consults.
I call back. Sometimes I miss Donald.
You're 6 years behind in your obligations to the clinic.
You see, I was right. This does not interest me.
6 years times 3 weeks, you owe me better than 4 months.
It's 5 o'clock. I'm going home.
The only reason I don't fire you is your reputation is still worth something at this hospital.
Excellent. We have a point of agreement. You won't fire me.
Your reputation won't last long if you don't do your job. All I want is for you to do your job.
Yeah, all this stuff was in the pilot. I don't know if you ever watched the pilot, but yeah, this whole audition is the pilot. And I don't know if Hugh Laurie was already cast in it, and this is sort of like the inevitable thing, or if he came to the audition and just freaking knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, see, I know him through Blackadder, which is an English comedy show that he was in prior to this, which is how I knew he's British. But having to act while maintaining an American accent, to me, seems like it would be boxing with one arm tied behind your back.
Yeah.
That's impressive in itself.
It's wild.
I would never know he's British never.
Yeah. I didn't know when I first started watching it. I didn't know. And then they started doing interviews and it's like, what?
Right.
So, but that's a sign of another. I wouldn't say he's a great actor, but I would say he's a solid actor. And to be able to turn off his English accent and turn on an American accent like a freaking on a dime, that's something special.
Yep. And I've seen bad acts. Actually, I had a note on one of these. Did you ever watch Kevin Costner's portrayal of Robin Hood?
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's an instance of an accent that goes wrong. He's trying to have a British accent, and you're like, oh God, that's awful.
Even though I like that movie just out of entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
And Morgan Freeman's in it, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, I'm a simp of Morgan Freeman.
Mhm.
And they surrounded him by great actors. But yeah, and I love Kevin Costner, but that's definitely a negative. It's a loss for Kevin Costner.
That
You know,
movie was. I liked the movie too. It was good despite him.
Yeah, somebody else could have played that role, and I think it'd have been just fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. And the guy that played the bad guy is awesome.
Sheriff.
Yeah. It's so awesome. He played Hans Gruber, and what else did he play in? Didn't he play in
Alan Rickman?
Yeah.
He's amazing. I saw him in a Shakespeare production of Romeo and Juliet.
And then he played in the Harry Potter's movies, didn't
Yeah,
he?
he was Snape.
I never watched. I think I've seen maybe one.
He was the main. Well, in the end, I don't think he wound up being bad, but he was kind of the main baddie in the.
But yeah, Rickman was great in that. In my opinion, he's the one that stole that movie. I thought he was better than Kevin Costner was as Robert.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Alan Rickman is definitely a scene stealer.
Yes, he is. I mean, the Hans Gruber stuff was great too, where he was like a complete ass, and then when John finds him like in the bellows of the thing, and he's all like, "Oh, please don't hurt me! Oh, please!" Like he's acting like he's a victim and shit.
Even in the, he's perfect at playing asshole. Even in the Romeo and Juliet production, he played Tybalt, who's an asshole in the play.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, that's perfect casting. It's Alan Rickman. He's being an asshole.
Yeah.
Great.
But yeah, casting isn't perfect. Kevin Costner is This only got about 30 seconds left.
But as the philosopher Jagger once said, you can't always get what you want.
Maybe I should have watched more of that show. See, from a high level, somebody who didn't watch a lot of TV but knew people who liked it. To me, I'm like, every episode sounded the same to me. Like, okay, he's an asshole.
It started getting kind of wokish at the end.
Oh.
But it still always had a charm. And when I say wokish, it's just they started adding a little bit more female characters toward the end, but House was in it the whole time. It's just I think they were just I don't think they were making it woke. I think they were trying to appeal more to other audiences. Or maybe the network basically said, "Hey, we need to spice it up a little bit." Because it's a lot of those type of dramas can get repetitive. If you watch a handful of the scene or the handful of the episodes, they can get kind of repetitive. So it might have been the network saying, "Hey, we need to do this, that, and the other thing to switch it up." You know what I mean? So a lot of that stuff happens. So
plus that show, I don't know. I always assumed had a majority female audience. I would think. I don't know. I could be wrong there.
I'm not sure. I loved it because the writing was great. Hugh Laurie was great. So I don't know if I always thought it had a mixed audience just because it's kind of a mix of, it's a hospital drama, but there was also other things that were in it. Like House is severely broken. And then, some of the stuff that he gets involved in and when he has to go to a insane asylum and all this other stuff, that stuff was real good too.
Maybe I thought that because, like you said, it's a hospital drama, and women love misery and watching.
Yeah, they love hospital dramas and
hospital kidnapping stories.
So, but yeah, that clip was really, like I said, I loved House, but just the fact that he could turn it on and off seamlessly is definitely part of being a good actor.
Mm-hmm.
Is being able to be uncomfortable for the sake of art being good. You know what I mean? Because it can't be easy. It can't be easy to switch from one accent to another accent. It can't be. Otherwise, everybody would be able to do it.
You've got to, as an actor, I would think you just have to let yourself go. Kind of like, don't be self-absorbed. If you watch performances, like I think when we were talking about De Niro a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that I thought he was amazing in Raging Bull, and at the end of that movie, there's scenes where he had to go gain like 60 pounds. And the story is De Niro went to Italy and just ate to gain the weight to make those scenes. And I'm like, Jesus, this guy doesn't give a shit that he just gained 60 pounds, whatever. He didn't care because he had a job to do, and that was his job.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah, even though I don't like him, yeah.
I don't like him as a person, but I do like him as an actor.
Yeah, I'm indifferent.
Yeah. Well, I'm a mob movie guy, so
Is there certain roles that he's been in throughout the years? Oh, amazing. But then there's other stuff where they call amazing that's not amazing.
okay, I got you. You think they give it high ratings just because he's in it?
Yes.
That's fair.
Because it's Robert De Niro, he's got the resume, but because he also has the politics. Because he's been a nightmare talking shit for decades. It's not a new thing because of Trump. You might have not heard about him saying shit, but he's always had some sort of opinion about, even if it was just New York politics. When Super Mayor was in New York, Giuliani, he had all kinds of bullshit to say about Giuliani. Yeah, he's always been very vocal about his politics, which I'm not a fan of. I don't give a shit. All actors, I don't care what your politics is.
I know.
I fucking care about the art. And it's fucking retarded that I have to say that to an artist.
Yeah. Not that of course they have the right to speak their opinion.
Yeah.
If they want to, but sometimes I hear them, I'm like, why would you want to say that? Don't say that.
Yeah, like why would you want to
shut up?
Completely shit on your audience. It doesn't make any sense to me. Zero fucks to give.
That's why I like actors like Denzel. Whenever he gets asked questions like that, he's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
he doesn't say I don't know, but he's like, I'm not falling into this trap.
Yeah. Because I don't think he's a Republican or a Democrat. I think he votes on who he likes.
Isn't it great that we don't know?
Yeah, it's great that we don't know.
I don't want to know what he is. He's a great actor. I know that.
Just between us and the audience, I think he's a Trump supporter.
Me too. That's probably why he's being obtuse.
Yeah. Well, he's a Second Amendment guy. He's got guns. He literally went in Covington, Georgia, which is about 30 minutes. And I might have told this story before, so forgive me if I've told it. He was at Covington, Georgia, and there's a couple studios that they built, I want to say about 4 or 5 years ago. He was doing Equalizer 3 at one of the studios that was in Covington. And people were at a restaurant in the Covington Square, and Denzel Washington walked in the front door and ordered food at the counter. People just about lost their fucking mind.
Right.
He didn't have an entourage. He didn't do anything other than just walk in the front door and order food. I respect the shit out of that.
Oh yeah. Yep.
He's arguably one of the greatest actors. I would probably put him top 10, maybe top 15.
Oh, no doubt. He's amazing in everything he does.
Yes. I would put him top 15, top 10, top 15 in acting. And he doesn't have an entourage. He walked in the front door and ordered his own fucking food. Like, are you shitting me right now?
You wonder why they all can't be like that. Actors,
why can't they all be like that? Why do they have the fucking
actors?
Entourage and doing blow in the trailer like fucking
Right. I mean, you look at him or what's another guy? Keanu Reeves is like that too. He's like, I'm just taking the subway.
Yeah, I'm just taking the subway.
Whatever.
See ya. So yeah, that kind of stuff right there just shows you how humbled he is. Yeah, he probably has some sort of ego because he is the top of his profession. Everybody does, but to have the humility just to walk into a fucking cafe and order your own damn food, which blows me away. Okay, so I have two, and we're not going to watch the whole thing of the one. I have 2 Star Wars auditions. One's 6 minutes, and like I said, we're not going to watch the entire thing. And then the other one is an hour long, but the first part is with Mark Hamill doing his audition.
I had a note on Mark Hamill in my notes for today, but
so yeah, we're going to watch Mark Hamill. Okay, so this first one is going to be Kurt Russell doing his audition. Now, keep in mind that Kurt Russell has been in Hollywood for 1 billion years, and he was on Bonanza as a little kid. So this dude has been in and around Hollywood for his entire life, in some degree. I loved him in Big Trouble in Little China, personally, but
I was just about to say that.
Which we should watch that on a Saturday.
That would be a great one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's make sure everything's good.
Okay.
I have no singing.
Now the audio is not Star Spangled Amazing. There is some buzzing, but you're talking about 50 years ago, 40 years ago.
How do you?
I have sing now.
Okay.
Speak.
Scene 2, take 2. Okay.
Well, it checks out again. There's no mistake. You can't find Organa Major? I found it. It's just not there.
Okay, so he's trying out for Han Solo, by the way. I don't know if you know that or not.
I got that within a couple of seconds being a Star Wars nerd. And you know what? Now that it's in my mind, he would have been pretty good, I think.
I think he would have been pretty good too.
You know, Organa Major's been destroyed? What's left is contaminated. That's it there. Look at those radiation readouts. It's impossible. I've never seen anything like it. The Empire must have gotten here first. The planet's been completely blown away. Oh, this would have taken 1,000 ships with more firepower than I've ever seen. If the Empire had some sort of new weapon that could do this, I'd have heard something. I'd know about it. Well, now you know. The enemy's on the move and we haven't much time. Yeah, well, I brought you here, so what now? Well, we just have to find the rebels. What we're carrying belongs to them. Oh, their bases are very well hidden. I mean, all the power of the Empire can't find them. Do you know where they are? No. Yeah, well, I'm not going to take you on an impossible search across the galaxy. Look, I was only paid to bring you here, and now you're here. So I'll just take my other 5,000, and you're on your own. I'll leave you on a near system. But you can't do this. Look, we've come this far. We must find them. Why? Well, for one thing, we don't have the other 5,000. Who's going to pay me then? Well, I think there's some things we should talk about. You know, I'm beginning not to like you. Okay, see the deal? How much do you think she's talking about anyway? Oh, at least $1 million. See, if this robot has any information related to the destruction of Organa Major, well, you'll be able to name the reward. Anything I want. That's interesting. You know, maybe you should just drop us off. I'm sure we find somebody willing to take the risk. All right, you got a ship. But where do we go?
The other guy's got too much of a New York accent.
Yeah, he's like Luke Skywalker from the Bronx.
Yeah, which I thought he was good. I thought he was good, Luke Skywalker, but yeah, he's got too much of a New York accent.
It's hard to.
I'm sorry.
No, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you would think that he would be cognizant that he does have an accent before going on to the audition.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's being self-aware as an actor.
Yeah. As much as I can see Kurt Russell playing Han Solo, first off, Harrison Ford nailed it. So can't
and you'll
argue with
see
that.
it. Yeah, you'll see it.
But the one thing I like about him is when he brought an edge when he said, "Well, who's going to pay me?" He had more anger in him than Harrison Ford ever played Han Solo with. Like it seemed like sinister for a second.
Yeah, because Harrison Ford was a little bit more like, "Well, who's going to pay me?" He was a little bit more animated, like, "Well, who's going to pay me?" Yeah.
Well, I took that as more as who's going to pay me, or I'm going to shoot you, or something like that. I think Harrison Ford got the role also because George Lucas had worked with him prior in, oh God, I can't remember the name of the movie. It was a movie about cars.
Oh, American Graffiti.
That's the one. Yeah. So I think he already had an in with George Lucas to begin with, Harrison Ford. So that probably helped him.
That's true.
From here, they probably took her to find the hidden bases. I don't see how we can find the rebels before she breaks. I mean, the Empire's already beat us here. Yeah, but she's part of the royal family. They won't get anything out of her. She knows the art of mind control. But still, she is the only link between us and the hidden bases. What do you mean we should go after her? I wasn't thinking about that, but that's a good idea. Yeah, wait a minute. She's an Alderaan. It's impossible. Nobody, I mean nobody, ventures anywhere near the Alderaan system. Hey, I'm a freebooter, kid. I'm not a revolutionary. I'm sorry, you got the wrong ship.
And maybe the fact that no one would go there voluntarily could help us. We probably don't think anybody would dare try.
Yeah, don't you believe it?
No, fear is the greatest weapon. Now, I doubt if the actual security there is much better than an alkali or Sullust. And what is there is most likely directed toward large-scale assault.
This isn't a game, you know.
Well, how many more systems you want to get blown away before there's no place to hide and you are forced to fight? Do you know what's going on?
You take all the glory and the good intentions, and I'll take the reward.
Fear is the greatest weapon.
Well, I'm not afraid. If anything.
He should have been like, I'm not afraid, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're snookering me into some shit I don't want to be in.
Yeah. The guy playing Luke Skywalker, I'm like, you're right. He can't get. I'm assuming he's an Italian from like Yonkers or something, and he just can't get it out of his head.
Yeah, like if
I
close my eyes and I listen to him do Luke Skywalker, it's like, bro, that doesn't sound like Luke.
No,
like go over to the galaxy, bro. And
hey, what are you gonna do? We got to go to Alderaan. We're gonna get a slice.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Get a piece of pie.
Apanava.
But I thought Kurt Russell was great. Yeah. Honestly,
he would have worked.
I mean, do you think he might have been number 2 behind Harrison Ford? Because I thought he was good.
I can't imagine anybody else being number 2 if he didn't get the part. I don't think anybody else could have read it better than him. Especially that ridiculous dialogue. Harrison Ford once said to George Lucas, "You can write this shit, but you can't say it." But it's sci-fi stuff. It's hibbity jibbity, I guess.
Yeah. And you can tell when people buy into stuff and when they don't, we're just like, well, there's spaceships and shit. You know what I mean? Like like the universe wasn't created. And when I'm saying universe, I'm talking about the Star Wars universe. Wasn't created yet. It's only created on paper. You don't actually see the universe on film yet. Yeah. You can't read the characters and say, okay, that's Darth Vader. That's Luke Skywalker. That's Han Solo. That's Princess Leia. That's, whatever.
You have no reference points.
There's no reference point. You either buy into it or you don't.
Yep.
And I can see in this clip right here I can see why these two gentlemen got cast for the characters because they bought into it. And like I said, there's no point of reference. You can't be like, oh, I see those characters,
Well, that wasn't Mark Hamill on the right.
No. Mark
okay,
Hamill,
all right.
I'm sharing my screen now with Mark Hamill.
Oh, I got you. Okay, good.
He looked less crazy back then. I don't know. It's crazy.
You go when ready. Am I blocking him if I get to?
No, they're way across.
So it checks out again. There's no mistake.
You can't find Organa Major?
I found it. It just ain't there.
Organa Major has been destroyed?
What's left of it's completely contaminated. Look at those radiation readouts. That's up there. It's impossible. I've never seen anything like it. What's going on?
The Empire must have gotten here first.
The planet's totally blown away. It would have taken 1,000 ships with more firepower than I've ever seen to do that. If the Empire had a new weapon that was capable of doing that, I'd have heard about it. I'd know something.
Well, now you know. The enemy's on the move. We haven't much time.
Well, I brought you here. Now what?
We have to find the rebels. What we're carrying belongs to them.
The bases are very well hidden. All the power of the Empire can't find them. Do you know where they are?
No, not anymore.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm not taking you on an impossible search across the galaxy. I was hired to bring you here. Now you're here. Give me my other 5,000. You're on your own. I'll let you off in the nearest system.
You can't. Look, we've come this far. We must find them.
Why?
Well, for one reason,
and you don't have your other 5,000. Well, who's going to pay me?
I think there's some things we should talk about.
I'm beginning not to like you.
Now, there's a few things that I have to comment about, and one of them is going to be good, and one of them is going to be not good.
Right.
What do you think so far?
I can't get my head around Mark Hamill, to be honest with you. So I'll let you go first.
Well, Mark Hamill, very short amount of time here, probably the last year, said that Luke Skywalker was LGBTQ.
Well,
and what fucking galaxy does he come off LGBTQ? He's such a fucking asshole.
Mm-hmm.
That is not an LGBTQ character at all.
No, he's just trying to get attention.
Yeah. That's the shit that fucking infuriates me.
Yeah.
Why he has to open his fucking mouth. He was great in that. He's believable.
Okay. So I had a conversation with my daughter yesterday, and I chatted to her about our show. Like, oh, I'm doing a show tomorrow. We were just chatting.
Yeah.
She said, "What's it about?" I said, "Good actors and good acting and bad acting." I said, well, "I don't know. What do you?" Her name. Well, I said, "What do you think?" And she goes, "You know what, Dad? I know you're a big Star Wars fan, but do you actually think Mark Hamill's a good actor?" And I couldn't. I'm like, I don't think so. I don't. But the character of Luke Skywalker is so, for somebody my age. Let me wax a little bit for a second.
Yeah.
I grew up. My mom had 3 jobs. No father anywhere. He was gone when I was like 1 left. And I lived with a grandmother. I was raised by a grandmother that was slowly kind of slipping into dementia at the time.
Okay.
So a lot of stress, I guess, or that sort of thing. No male role model. I feel, and this is going to sound ridiculous, but I was 9 when Star Wars came out. And to me, Luke Skywalker means something. He does the right thing even when it's hard to do the right thing. And I think in some odd kind of pathetic way, he taught me something as a little kid, like persevering. Don't take the easy route. You got to work, that sort of thing. So I love the character so much that it's hard for me to say whether Mark Hamill is a good actor. I will say, I guess he portrayed Luke well because I love the character so much. So I guess he was good at that, I suppose.
I think the difference between him and like the other guy from New York, whatever, is especially in the first Star Wars. Obviously, the second Star Wars, Empire, and then Return of the Jedi, his confidence starts to build. He starts believing in the Force. So his character arc starts going in different directions. But in the first Star Wars, which is what this one is,
yeah,
I like the fact that he came off with two different ways. You can see the progression of him trying to do what's right, like what you're saying. And then also there's a naiveness about him.
Yep.
Where when he meets people for the first time and he doesn't take it very seriously. Like he's very naive.
Yeah, it's a boyish naivete. Yep,
It's
I agree.
boyish naivete, and that's why I think he got the part as opposed to being a rock solid actor. I think he came across as a naive young guy, but also could have confidence. So he could show different layers of what his character gave him.
It's almost like he was just being himself, like Mark Hamill as a young person. It just so happened that it was perfect for this role.
That's correct. Because I think he needed to show different sides of himself. And I think Mark Hamill did that for the character of Luke Skywalker, is being naive, but then also being a badass as over time, where he could convert himself into, a Jedi Knight, and he's a badass. And then when he goes and sees Yoda and he's angry and he doesn't believe in himself, and then he resorts back to being naive. So it was a constant fight where he was naive, but then he had a strong side when he saw Darth Vader. He was naive, and then he went to the Republic and he talked to the Republic about doing the right thing and going after the Death Star and all this other stuff. So like
it's almost in A New Hope, he's kind of he's kind of, I would say 3. Like in A New Hope, he's like a boy, a wide-eyed, naive boy. In Empire, he's almost like a angsty teen, where he's trying to follow the training, but he's just like, nah, I'm to help my friends. He does rash things.
Yeah, I can't
And he
do it
learns a
anymore.
lesson because he loses at the end.
Yeah.
And then in Return of the Jedi, he's an adult. So I don't know. I'm probably overanalyzing it because it's Star Wars, but I'm a Star
But
Wars guy.
I think that was what the appeal was of casting him, is because he had multiple sides that he could show. Some of the other people that, if you watch the rest of this, and then there's some other ones that are online, you could tell the difference between him and some of the other characters. I don't think they have the naive side to him, or
you can even extend it out to the sequels, which I don't like. But he was in The Last Jedi a bunch.
Yeah.
And that, you could say that's the crotchety old man version.
Correct. And there was no character arc. He was an old man version.
He's just angry at everything, which I can.
Yeah, he's angry.
I can dig. Yeah. I kind of grew up with him.
So he didn't have the charm he did in those original movies.
No.
And I think Mark Hamill was the right person to cast during that time in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, Luke Skywalker is one of the most iconic
yeah.
characters of all time, so you can't argue with success, so to speak.
Yeah.
Clearly, he was the right guy.
And as far as acting, he didn't really do anything. And then he's done voice acting, which I think he was the Joker in Batman animated series, and he's found success in other avenues of entertainment, not just acting. But I think he was the right person to cast at the right time.
They tried to give him a star vehicle named the Big Red One. I think it was 1979 or so, and he was the leader of a battalion, like a tank battalion.
Okay.
And everybody figured, well, it's Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker. He's the big thing. It'll be huge. And
yeah.
Shit the bed because he sucked.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I think he was the right moment, right guy at the right moment.
Yeah, born to play one role.
Yeah.
And he got it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. He's probably a millionaire because of that one role.
It's one of the most iconic movie characters of all time. Luke's fucking Skywalker. Same with Shatner and Captain Kirk. He used to go, I don't want to be viewed as Captain Kirk. I'm like, brother, lean into it, dude. You're good at it. You do that.
Now he does. He goes to every con.
And there was a time
90s, right?
Yeah, there was a time though that he was like enough already, because I think he's actually a really good actor. I've seen him in other things. I think he's excellent, but I don't know. Don't throw the money away. People love you as Captain Kirk. Be loved. Don't be mad.
And in hindsight, seeing both of these guys do their audition, I mean, these two are the right guys for the role.
Oh, no doubt.
No doubt. The chemistry that they have, they believe in what they're talking about. I believe them that they're on a ship and they're, having a conversation about money. So
even Han Solo's even sort of like, in a little way, like a big brother. Like he's the experienced guy. He's been through around the block, and he's showing the kid the ropes, so to speak.
Showing the naive kid the ropes and how the world.
A lot of archetypes in these movies, which is why I think they work so well. Why people like them so much.
So we might have a little bit more of just them, and then it switches over.
You even have a damsel in distress.
Yeah, I think there might be a Carrie Fisher audition. I'll have to try to find it. I think it's like 21 minutes in. I'll have to find it.
Well, how much do you think she's talking about?
$1 million at least. If this robot has information related to the destruction of Organa Major, you'll be able to name the reward.
Anything I want, huh? This begins to interest me.
Hans, maybe you should just drop us off. I'm sure we'll be able to find someone willing to take the risk.
Oh, all right. You got yourself a ship. But where do we go from here? I mean, they've taken her to find the hidden bases. How are we going to get to the rebels before she breaks? The Empire already beat us here.
She's part of the royal family. They won't get any information from her. She knows the art of mind control. Still, she is our only link between us and the hidden bases.
You're saying that we should follow them?
No, I didn't say that, but it appears to be a logical alternative.
No, that's impossible. They're in Alderaan. Nobody dares venture near the Alderaan system. Listen, I'm freebooter, not a revolutionary. You're on the wrong ship, son.
Maybe the fact that no one would venture there voluntarily could work to our advantage. They probably don't think anyone would dare try.
Don't you believe it?
Fear is their greatest defense. I doubt if the actual security there is much greater than on Aquilai or Sullus, and what there is most likely directed towards a large-scale assault.
This is not a game, you know.
Well, how many more systems have to get blown away before you have no place to hide and are forced to fight? Don't you realize what's going on?
Kid, you take the glory and the good intentions. I'll take the reward.
Fear is their greatest weapon.
I'm not afraid of anything.
Okay, good.
Believable
Did
to
a good
me.
job.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's so fun. The audition you showed earlier of Rachel McAdams, I'm assuming that that was the dialogue that was used in the actual movie.
Yeah.
Whereas this is nowhere near the dialogue from the movie.
Well, kind of. There's some parts in there about the in the first one he's talking about it blowing up, and then they have some sort of super weapon or something. So kind of.
Yeah, there's my point being there were a lot of dialogue and script changes after the audition and before.
Oh, probably.
Which I don't know if that's normal or not,
But in the audition process, I mean, you believe both of these people, correct?
Sure.
If you didn't know the movie came out and the lure behind it, would you like their acting and how they portrayed the characters?
yeah, I think they had they work well together.
So the chemistry was really good.
Yeah.
Which has a lot to do with it. Yeah. But like I
And
said,
with Carrie Fisher, she was also had good chemistry. Plus, she seemed like she would have been a good hang back in the day. I've read some stories about her.
yeah, she grew up in Hollywood because her parents are Hollywood royalty, basically. Okay, so I think this is Carrie Fisher. Let me give me 1 second. Let me see here.
And starting all the data banks not too is still secure.
Well, and I think that we ought to have the reward that you're talking about. And I hope it'll be substantial considering what we've been through already.
When R2 has been safely delivered to my forces, you get your award.
What?
You have
More
my
bad
guarantee.
accents.
What's the little droid carrying that's so blasted important?
The plans and specifications to a battle station with enough firepower to destroy an entire system. Our only hope in destroying it is to find its weakness, which we will determine from the data I stored in R2. We captured the plans in a raid on the Imperial shipyards, but we fell under attack before I could get the data to safety, so I hid it in this R2 unit and sent him off.
Good. And now where are you taking us?
The fourth moon of Yavin.
Fourth moon, yeah.
I've given the coordinates to Chewbacca.
Don't you understand? They let us go. They're going to follow us. They want to find your hidden bases. They're going to destroy the entire system.
I know they'll follow. And they'll bring the Death Star. But our only hope is to destroy it before it destroys us. Hiding is useless now. With the Death Star, they will continue to destroy systems until they found us. We have no alternative but to process the information and use.
Am I out of your shot?
It's okay. We'll read it more to right?
Okay.
All the data
She was a cutie back then.
Yeah. Yep.
banks in R2 is still secure.
Well, and I think
I wouldn't say she's hot, but she was definitely cute, and she'd be a cool hang.
That the stories I've read about her give her an extra couple points because she looks like she's about down for anything.
Oh yeah, she did a lot
Ready
of
to roll.
drugs, a lot of threes,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff.
we ought to have the reward you were talking about. And I hope it'll be substantial considering what we've been through already.
When R2 has been safely delivered to my forces, you get your award. You have my guarantee.
What's the little droid carrying that's so important?
The plans and specifications to a battle station with enough firepower to destroy an entire system.
And my cocaine.
Our only hope in destroying it is to find it.
What was that?
I said, and my cocaine. The droid's got my cocaine. So
Its
here,
weakness,
I'll be honest with you. I think
we
this
will determine from
audition
the data.
is far weaker than the two that Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford's.
I think so.
But the character she's portraying in the audition is not really like the character that wound up on the screen. Like, I'm not seeing, when I think Princess Leia from the old movies, I think sassy.
Yeah.
A lot of spunk, that kind of thing. And she's not showing any of that.
Which that could have been added later.
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Even the accent she tried. In the movie, she has a British accent for about 10 minutes at the beginning of it. And then
yeah, she kind of does.
Drops it.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. I think these are just words on a page at the moment.
Mhm.
There's not like the zest to it, the little parts of Star Wars aren't added to it.
I think maybe this character more than the other two. It seems like from what I've read about Carrie Fisher and the type of person I've seen in interviews, they almost added a little of her to the character.
Yeah.
Because she was really footloose and fancy free and kind of not afraid to speak her mind in real life.
Yeah.
And Princess Leia was a lot like that in the movies.
And they're not cast yet, so they got to go through costumes. So you got to figure out what they're going to look like. So you figure out a lot about a character when you're going through costumes and hair and what the person's going to look like, what they're going to perceive. So there's a lot of stuff that's probably not done yet as far as the process. Yeah. This is probably just finding their actors that are going to believe this, because this is brand new. People are like, what the fuck is this? Do I really want to play like a spaceman?
Right. Yeah.
At this point, some of the actors that audition for this are probably thinking that. Do I really want to play some space fucking person?
You know who the person I cannot believe that's in Star Wars is Alec Guinness, Sir Alec Guinness. Like, wow, how'd they get him? It's like an actual actor, fucking Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah.
I stored in R2. But we captured the plans in a raid on the Imperial shipyards. But we fell under attack before I could get the data to safety, so I hid it in this R2 unit and sent him off.
And where are you taking us now?
Fourth moon of Yavin. I've given the coordinates to Chewbacca.
You have. Don't you understand? They let us go. They're going to follow us. They want to find your hidden bases. They're going to destroy the entire system.
I know they'll follow.
You know.
And they'll bring the Death Star. But our only hope is to destroy it before it destroys us. But hiding is useless now. With the Death Star, they'll continue to go on destroying systems until they found us. We have no alternative but to process the information and use it while there's still time.
Look at the camera and say your name.
Carrie Fisher, 19.
She was 19.
Yeah.
19 years old.
They said they had to tape her boobs down during filming because they were. George Lucas said they were too big for the character.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
This is.
I don't like to have that job.
Yeah, really. Like, come here, Carrie. I need to tape your boobs real quick. We can watch a little bit of this, but I mean, we're pretty much done with this video. But this is Kurt Russell, and then the other guy is from Greatest American Hero.
Oh, I remember him. Yeah.
Organa Major?
I found it. It's just not there.
Well, Organa Major's been destroyed?
What's left of it is contaminated. That's it there. Look at those radiation readouts. It's impossible. I've never seen anything like it.
The Empire must have gotten here first.
The planet has been completely blown away. This would have taken 1,000 ships with more firepower than I've ever seen. If the Empire had some sort of new weapon that could do this, I'd have heard something.
He's got a lot more fire in his audition in this one, Kurt Russell, than he did in that first one.
Yeah. Yep.
So he's probably already been saying the lines, and then this is a new Luke Skywalker.
I know about it.
Well, now you know. The enemy's on the move. We haven't much time.
Yeah, well, look, I brought you here, so what now?
Well, we have to find the rebels. What we're carrying belongs to them.
Well, their bases are very well hidden. Do you know where they are?
No, not anymore.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to take you on any impossible search across the galaxy. Look, I was only paid to get you here, and you're here, so I'll just take my other 5,000, and I'll be on my way. You're on your own.
No, you can't. We've come this far, we have to find them.
Why?
Well, for one reason, we don't have your other 5,000.
Yeah, the other guy's kind of dry, in my opinion.
Stinks.
Yeah, he's not that good. But yeah,
I like the Italian guy better.
Yo,
What do you mean you can't take it? Hey, who got the peppers and eggs over here? Oh, nice lightsaber.
You
Look
bring
at
the
that.
pizza to the Death Star. But it's super fun that this shit was 1975.
Yeah.
I was literally not born yet when they did this audition.
Amazing. I was
Because
7.
the first movie came out in 77, right?
Yep.
The year I was born. Yeah, Star Wars and then Elvis died all in the same year.
That's right. Yep.
So okay, so this
Still
last
hear
one.
Still hear my grandmother crying when she heard the news. She loved her some Elvis, boy.
Oh yeah, that was a big deal. That and Kennedy, when Kennedy died, people lost their mind.
John Lennon also big impact.
Was John Lennon, and this might be a hot take. Was John Lennon kind of asking for it though? Because he was running his mouth, and Yoko Ono was running her mouth too.
Well, they shot the wrong one, I would say, but yeah. He was mouth, but that was his whole shtick. He was like just always political like that. I think he was another one that just walked around New York like without a entourage. So
Yeah, without any kind of him and Yoko. And
Caught
did
up with
you
him.
and you being a music guy, do you blame Yoko for breaking up the Beatles?
I don't know. I do know if I were Paul McCartney, I'd have been fucking annoyed as shit that this broad in a hospital bed sitting in the corner making fuck faces at me all day while I'm trying to write something. So I think she's the leading candidate for who broke up the Beatles, and I don't blame the rest of them. They're like, you know what? Fuck off with this bullshit.
And some people think that him and McCartney and John were already on the outs before he started dating Yoko Ono.
Yeah, that's well. Yes, that's true. John was all
This
drugged out of his
inevitable,
head.
Basically,
George was all
inevitable.
yeah. But George, John were all drugged out of their head and weren't very what's the word, proactive in getting stuff done. So Paul was always the one that was, come on, let's go. We gotta
Pushing
make an
everybody
album.
yeah.
And I think they resented him. But I'm on team Paul. I'm like, he was trying to keep the best band, in my opinion, ever together. So I get it. You know,
Even
but
though it's
whatever.
inevitable that eventually people are going to do their own thing. Especially with the Beatles. I mean, come on.
It's good that
Okay,
they
so-
ended in their when they were still good, though, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the last video, and you can say what you want about Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is also in the top 15 actors of all time.
Yep.
Without question.
One of the most likable on-screen presences
Yes.
ever.
And he talks about his politics, but only a little bit. He doesn't go too much into it, even though where he kind of stands on things. He's not crazy like fucking De Niro, even though you know what side he's on.
Sure.
Which I don't have a problem with that. If you
for
want
him.
to if you want to give your opinion and you obviously have a lean on your opinion, I'm not going to hate you for it. I'm going to hate you for, stomping your feet and crying in the New York City and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't have
care
a problem
about this.
hearing what they have to say about things. Just please don't think I give a shit about what you say, Tom Hanks or Robert De Niro, about politics, because I don't.
Yes. And I remember watching Tom Hanks for the first time on The Bosom Buddies.
Yeah, I remember.
And then he was also on Family Ties. He was he played one of the uncles on Family Ties. He had like a drinking problem or something. He was on there for a couple episodes or one episode.
I didn't know
Uncle
that.
Joe. So that's where I was introduced to Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
And then when he came out, I'm trying to think some of his early movies. Philadelphia. You kidding me?
Sure.
Philadelphia is a great fucking movie. Him and Denzel in the same movie.
His
'Cause Denzel-
range, it's a little like Robin Williams. The range is incredible. All
Don't
the
get me
different
started on
characters.
Robin Williams now.
I'm a fan, so you're not going to beef with me.
I think they were I think they were yanking my chain more than anything, but come on.
Probably they were busting your balls. But if you could do, if you like Tom Hanks can play in a comedy and be funny, then he can play. It's amazing the range he has. He can do
It is
anything.
amazing. Yeah. I mean, I can just keep on naming the freaking movies. I mean, it's endless. He's definitely top 15 of all time actors.
Saving fucking Private Ryan.
Oh God, yeah.
Great. Yep.
Great freaking movies. The Green Mile, Forrest Gump. I mean,
He's got a De Niro-esque resume in that you can just name all these. Like Jesus, what a run the guy had.
and this might not and this night might be another hot take. I don't know. I think he's a better actor than De Niro.
I would agree with that because De Niro really only plays one character.
He's got way more range.
Yeah.
He can play
Yeah, I think
multiple
that's fair.
different characters. I think he's a better actor toe for toe than De Niro is.
Mhm.
De Niro just has the backing of superstar producers and directors.
Yeah, he got in with Scorsese or whoever.
Like early. Because a lot of the people that Scorsese uses in his movies, he's known since they were little kids.
And he puts them in all of his movies.
Yeah.
It's like his gang.
Yeah. He's known De Niro forever. Before he did Raging Bull, before he did all that shit. He knew him when he was a little kid. So, I mean, there is a lot of nepotism when it comes to that, and just
Us Italians
knowing
stick
the right
together,
person and the times and everything else, you know. But I think pound for pound, I think Tom Hanks is a better actor. He's got way more range.
I don't think that's a hot
Big
take.
is one of
I
my
think
favorite movies of all time.
that's good. Yep.
So anyway, so this is the last video that we have, and it's about 13 minutes, and we don't necessarily have to watch the whole thing, but it's him talking. He's in England, he's in Oxford, and he's talking about the process of acting. And the students ask him different questions about acting, which I thought was great. Getting like there's a bunch of Tom Hanks being Tom Hanks and goofy and all this stuff on talk shows and everything. But I wanted to hear a little bit about his process and like the nuts and bolts of him as an actor. So I'd found this one just a little bit more collegiate looking. You know, he's at college and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna watch this. It's like 12 minutes, and then we'll stop it and comment it on stuff like that. So,
all right,
let me go ahead and share it.
I've also really enjoyed your writing. Would you tell us the story of writing Uncommon Type?
Oh, okay. That's a collection of short stories that came about. Okay, let me get something. As an actor, you have to write without necessarily writing down. So everything that goes on in your character in that circumstance. You have to come in that thing is you have to have an idea, you know, that's the idea is what you yourself wrote. So I had been not.
We're Phoenix Energy, a family.
Damn commercials. After 1 minute. All right. Let's do this again.
Without realizing I was writing it until I worked with Nora Ephron on a movie called Sleepless in Seattle, in which I was arguing with her so often about the perspective.
Another great movie, Sleeping in Seattle.
Perspective of a man. She and her sister Delia had written the screenplay. I kept saying to them, "You're women. You're women. I'm a man. I have a kid. I have a son. You don't know what men and their sons go through. You know why? Because you're women." And they would say, "Well, then what would you say?" I'd say, "Oh, okay, you want to know? You want to know what I would say? That time when, the kid doesn't want me to go out with the girl on the date because it's not the girl that I met. I don't want you to go out with her. Don't you go?" And you have him say, "Oh, what am I going to do? My son doesn't want me to go out on a date." No man would let that brat kid get away with that. No man would say, "Oh, you're upset. Okay, I will not go out on a date with her then." Okay, no. He would say, "I am going out on a date with her. You know why? You know why I'm going out on a date with this lady? Because I might get laid." And I've only been laid 7 times in my life. 8, Mary Kelly. Other than that, I'm going out. I said, and that ended up being in the movie. And I said to Nora, "Oh, it's so great that you took my cranky rant and put it in the movie." And she said, well, you wrote that. I said, "No, I didn't write that. We were just complaining during a note." It's just, "Tom, that's what writing is." And this thing went off boink in my head. And so I started doing more, quote unquote, actual writing, which is putting things down on paper. I wrote a movie called That Thing You Do, which is about a rock and roll band. And all I did was write down stuff that delighted me. And I've since written on.
That's a fun movie. You ever seen that? That Thing.
What was the name of it? I didn't catch it.
That Thing You Do.
I love that movie. Yeah.
He wrote that. He was in a little bit of it, but he wrote that one.
His son was
screenplays and television
guy in that,
projects
right?
we
Colin
have
Hanks?
at the office. The short stories came about because I ended up in the summertime. I read each decade of the best writing of the New Yorker. Big, thick books of the 20s, 30s, 40s, maybe not the 20s, but the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. I read everything in them except the poetry, because I'm not a poet. But everything else in there was scintillating writing. And from that, I ended up writing a short story that I ended up sending to a friend of mine, and he sent it to an agent, and the agent said, I'm going to send this to the New Yorker, and the New Yorker published it, which was crazy. So the liberating aspect of writing for me as an actor is there's no collaboratives. You just sit down and you get to control everything yourself. So out of that came, would you like to do a collection of stories? I said, well, I have about 8 in my head. And so we ended up doing it and ended up getting published. And lo and behold, loved every minute of it. Very hard work. I'm not, who is a writer in here? Show of hands. Okay. You guys know what this is, Isn't it great? Oh, how did you write that? I sat down at a desk for hours on end and tried to come up with the stuff that made sense that everybody could understand.
Sounds like me, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm no Tom Hanks, but it sounds like me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, that's the type of stuff that I like to hear. And yes, it's probably because of an ego thing. But if Tom Hanks looks at something the way that I look at something, it validates me.
I understand completely. And I don't think it's an ego thing. When you look at, for instance, again, music, you're going to get it from me. When I watch the Beatles in the studio write a song, I'm like, okay, first off, they're the Beatles and I'm not. I get that.
Yeah.
But the process, same process I go through with my bandmates. Exact same. And that validates me a little bit. I'm like, oh, they're just some guys doing their, So I get you. I get what you're saying.
And is it an ego thing, or is it more just a validation thing that you're hitting the target?
Yes, I think validation would be more of, they're not doing anything I'm not doing. They're just better at it, but the process, I kind of got that. So, yeah.
Boy, that sounds like fun, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound like just a blast? But that is required. That's what it required. And I will tell you, there's one trick, one writing technique that I learned about. It's called the Pomodoro timer technique. Does anybody know what this is? Raise your hands if you know what the Pomodoro thing is. Oh, well, then I don't have to tell the story then. That relief of setting a timer for 25 minutes, writing, and as soon as the bell goes off, get up, walk away, do anything else for 5 minutes, and then come back. It's amazing how on task it keeps you and how fresh. And I have to say that's the way I write now. When I write, I got to say a morning goes by almost in the wake of it. It takes a little bit of the sting off of being there all by yourself. But thank you for the question.
Thank you so much.
That.
Yeah, have you ever done that writing music? Is take a set of time, do what you do, and then step away and walk away, get some coffee, do whatever? No.
Nope.
Do you force yourself?
No.
Do you force yourself to write something or to create something, or do you kind of organically let it fester?
I've never set a time or had to force myself. I usually write songs right before I go to sleep in my head. They just start coming.
Okay.
And then I'll remember them in the morning. And if I can, without a guitar, I'll jot down what I think the chords were in my head. And then usually the music turns into a syllable of some sort or a sound. And so I'll write the lyrics around that word.
Get your instrument together and everything else.
Yeah, but it's
okay.
It's like, I've sat down to write a song before, but most of the time they just kind of pop in my head.
Okay. I'm the same way. Well, kind of. I wait for it to organically pop in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I don't force anything because I don't want to stress out about writing something. I don't want to potentially, not saying I would, potentially copy somebody else's shit because I think I have to put something on paper. I don't want to do that.
No.
I want to go based off of what's in my brain, what's in my heart, and put it on paper.
Yep. The only thing I do is I'll write a chord chart down sometimes, like that's a B minor, this, that, and the other thing. So, because a lot of times I'll write a song and I won't have a chance to go play it in a studio for a month. So it's got to stay there.
Yeah.
So, but it's great when I finally go to the studio. I'm like, all right, buddy, song's 9 minutes. I know it's long, but it's got lots of different parts. Give me a guitar and a microphone, and I'll just get it out of my head for you in 9 minutes. Which is that's a great to hear what's been in your head and get it out. Is an amazing feeling.
Is it hard to scale it back? So if you wrote a 9-minute song, is it hard to scale it back to 3 or 4 minutes?
No, not really. Actually, no. The song we're working on now is 9.5 minutes long, and it's staying that way because it needs to be that long because it's like 4 different little songs that connect together and refer back to the first part and stuff. So, and the guy I write music with, or the guy I play with, he's totally open to that. So, no, I never feel like I'll write a 3-minute song. I'll write a 9-minute song. I've written 20-minute songs. I don't care.
Dang, 20 minutes. Woo.
It's whatever feels.
Pops in the brain, huh? Same thing. Same thing with me. I don't force it. Some people force it, and then when I watch their shit, it's like, bro, you watch this movie, you watch that movie, you watch this movie. Come on.
Plus, I grew up in a time where you could put the radio on because I'm a big progressive rock fan from the old, like Yes, Genesis, stuff like that. You could put on an FM radio station and they played 10-minute long songs. They didn't care. It was like
I usually turn. I know I don't like long songs like that.
That's fair.
3 or 4 minutes, I'm jamming like in the car and stuff. But anything over 3 or 4 minutes, I'm just like, no, turn this.
I'm the opposite. I'm like, give me a side long sweep. I'm good.
A side long sweep. So what do you think about the video so far? I like the fact that he's giving his perspective on the actual process.
I like seeing him. It's interesting to see him like this, like
as opposed to being Tom Hanks in
and I did like
a talk show or something.
I did like his story where he stood up to Nora Ephron and said, "Dudes wouldn't do this," and you know how I know? Because I'm a guy and you're not, which in 2025 might not go over that well, but I like that he showed that he's not afraid to tell somebody, well, okay, you can't write men because you're a woman.
This was posted a year ago, so it's relatively fresh.
Oh, all right.
I'm not saying it's exactly fresh, but it's relatively fresh.
You've played so many characters so well, which find themselves often in pretty dangerous situations. Which character shoes would you least likely to be in, or least like to be in, rather?
Wish you could sip like a sommelier at home.
You know what I would ask him? Why do you urinate in every movie that you're in? Why? Why do you do that?
That would have been a great question.
Do you know that? Do you know he urinates in every movie?
No. You pulling my leg here, Derek? Or are you serious?
No. Okay. And it would be weird if you like focused on like every movie, but every movie he's in, he's doing some sort of urinating. The Green Mile, he has a bacteria infection, he's fucking urinating. When he's on the island, he's urinating. Private Ryan, he's urinating.
Captain Phillips, doesn't he pee over the edge of the boat?
I think so. Yeah, every movie he's urinating. I don't know what it is.
I'm not sure that I'm happy I know that now because now I'm not.
I ruined it.
He's a one-trick pony, that Tom Hanks.
Does he pee in Forrest Gump?
I can't recall, but I would imagine probably at some point. It's a long-ass movie. You think the character would have taken a leak at some point?
A lot of his movies, he's urinating. Why? Why do you have to have that in it?
Now I'm picturing him reviewing a script and then going to the writer after he reviews the script and goes, "Script's great, love it, great story, but where's my pee scene at? Get something? Where's that coming in? You still working on that?"
And the other question I'd have is in Forrest Gump, why does he do the peace and reverse peace in Forrest Gump?
I just thought because the character was retarded. I don't know.
That's a communist symbol, isn't it?
Oh, it is?
No peace. Because he does 2 pieces, 1 piece and 1 piece is down.
I didn't even know that was a communist symbol.
I'll have to look it up. But yeah, he doesn't when he's saying goodbye to Jenny when she hops on that bus to go with the hippies and he's dressed in his uniform, he does a piece and no piece. Watch his hands when you see it. Why would you do that? He might get pissed if I ask him that.
So what? You got 2 questions for him.
Yeah.
Is it a communist thing? And what's with peeing all the time?
Yeah, exactly.
What's your even better? What's your favorite urination portrayal in your career?
What's your motivation for fucking urinating on screen?
Yeah.
What is the motivation?
You drink a lot of water before the scene. How do you ear helps?
It's a natural process that I gotta go pee.
So some people can cry on demand and pee on demand. Kind of a non-connected little story while you're looking for the video. But so I know we chatted last night. I spent 3.5 hours on Friday night setting up music equipment on my computer.
Okay.
I got a notification saying that there's a Windows update and I'll need to reboot my computer. I am petrified of rebooting my computer now because I know I'm just nervous. All that work, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
After I reboot. So that will be my Sunday afternoon. Is praying that everything
Praying,
works after I
hoping that
reboot.
You reboot.
Yep.
All your work isn't.
Well, the files wouldn't go away, but all the settings I spent hours working on to
You're
make the
tweaking
hardware
all the
work.
settings and doing the dials and everything.
I hate dealing with that stuff. That's why I'm glad my bandmate does the producing because I'm like I just want to write songs and play guitar.
How much do you do the cool parts?
That's exactly what happens. I come in, I go, hey, I wrote a song. Here's how it goes. It'll go cool, and then he'll have to finish it. I go away, and he replaces all my instruments because he's better. He usually sings it. I'm hardly ever on the final product at all.
Oh, really? Not even background vocals or anything?
Nah, sometimes the acoustic guitar. I'm on some.
Okay.
I'm not like that. I'm like, I don't care. Whatever sounds the best, do that. I don't care if I'm on it, and it doesn't matter to me, really.
Yeah.
Plus, when the studio was in my house, I played everything and sang everything. So it's more of I'm only at my studio once a month, and that guy lives there. So he'll work on it. And if he wants to do a part, he's there to do it.
Okay.
Which is part of the reason I'm setting up all this equipment because I want to be able to record parts here and then share them on a Dropbox and he can pick them up.
Yeah, that works.
Plus, I'm humble enough to realize that he's simply just better at guitar and bass and
What was
singing
that?
than I am. I was saying I'm humble enough to know that he's better at the instruments than I am.
You definitely have to. There's definitely a lot of humbling that you have to do to make good art and recognize that somebody is better than you. That you don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
I don't
My
have
strength,
all the answers.
yeah, my strength is writing, songwriting. That's
Okay.
what I can do. So that's what I bring. Otherwise, there's no songs for the band to work on. So that's worth something.
The thing that pisses me off is if you lean on somebody for something, whatever it is, and they completely shit the bed and then make excuses. I have a fucking problem with that.
I'm very fortunate to have worked with this guy for 3 decades on just jamming music and stuff like that. So we're at the point now where I'll drop a demo off with him or play it and he'll record it. You know, the initial idea, just scratch demo, you know. I'll go home, think about it. Okay, it needs something here, it needs something there. And I'll go back to the studio and he will have already done what I was thinking without me telling him. So we have that like a good, like we're on the same wavelength all the time.
Yeah.
Which is, it saves a lot of time.
Okay.
It's great.
Yeah,
I'll say
'cause-
like, hey, you know what I think should go there? And he'll go, what do you think? This? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. Next.
but yeah, that's the difference between the indie world and people that do it for a living. Is the people that do it for a living take it much seriously, and there's some dickheads out there. I'm not saying that there's not, but they'll take it a lot more seriously, and the work itself is taken seriously. They don't just they don't phone it in, kind of. So like, if I do 5,000 things and this one person does one thing, you lean on them for one thing and they fuck it up, I have a problem with that.
Right. That's the old, you had one job.
You had one fucking job and you failed.
Yeah.
And then it's like in 2025, people are like, well, you're being a little hard on them. It's like, I did 5,000 things for your one thing and you fucked it up.
As a director and a writer of a movie, like I'm fortunate to have, even though I write most of the stuff, I trust my bandmate and bounce it off of him. And then he, do you have somebody like that when you come up with ideas that you would trust to bounce things off of, that gives you feedback? Or is it, are you on an island pretty much?
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, that's pretty much the videos, because he goes on a little bit more. But I want to just kind of get a little bit of perspective on him and his process, because he is great at what he does. And like I said, it's one of those things that a lot of the stuff is like, I'm Tom Hanks. I got funny quips and stuff like that. And it's like, that's fine. I mean, it's him being him, but I wanted to see the actual process of what a great actor thinks about, what their process is.
It's good to see the passion that he had.
Passion, why they do what they do. So that stuff turns me on and fires me up every time. And going back to what we were talking about earlier about people appreciating stuff, and that's it. I wish people would just take some time to smell the roses and appreciate the world and art, and appreciate people's time, that the effort that people put into it. Just because you don't take it seriously doesn't mean that somebody else isn't taking it seriously.
People nowadays, young people especially, seem to live their lives as if they were a stone skipping across a pond, never going deep, just moving forward without stopping. And I agree. Sometimes it's rewarding to dive into something.
Yeah. And you've got young people all the time like, oh, that boomer, or oh, that Gen Xer, or oh, whatever. But those same people that are saying that shit aren't doing anything of significance. They're not doing anything. They're not creating anything. They're not exploring anything. All they're doing is criticize. That's it.
We had one thing that they don't have, and that's, there was a lot of pockets of boredom when I was young that you had to fill with something.
Yeah.
And you didn't have a million options.
True.
So you had to pick something. Now there's a million options. If you get tired of something, you just like
move on to something else.
Move on, next. Right. So I don't know. It's a shame that it seems more young people don't have that same ability to focus and have that perspective on diving into things. But on the other hand, that's me yelling at the clouds. It's just how it is now, I guess.
Do you think it's because of social media, or do you think people are just dumb? Or both?
I think both those answers are intertwined with one another. Yes, I think social media is a problem, and yes, I think that's dumbing people down. So, because nobody's an expert in anything now. They know what they read on X about something, and then they just,
it must be true. It must be true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. And then
which gets annoying, because you don't learn anything. It's like peeling an onion back. Like you learn some information, whatever it is. And then I peel the onion back, look into it, see what other perspectives are, see like who the players are. Does that same person always causing a fucking problem, or is it a new thing? Or like I peel the onion back. A lot of people just don't they take it as face value. Whatever they said is true.
But it also gives you a perspective. Like, I'll give you it's kind of a for instance. So I think I've mentioned before, late last year, I read all the classic Greek playwrights, all of it. Sophocles, Euripides, Aeschylus, and Aristophanes, every single one of their plays. And now when I see modern entertainment, I go, man, we're standing on the shoulders of giants, because everything that's written now, that's where it comes from. All the archetypes, all the story types. There's romance, there's the hero's journey, there's comedy. I could see a link all the way back to thousands of years.
Yeah. Are they hard reads?
Well accomplished, but what's that?
Are they hard reads to understand what they're trying to say?
Not as hard as you would think. Nope. It's after you get through one or two of them, you kind of pick it up.
Okay.
And it's generally plus if I'm ever confused about the wording of something, then I would go online to a reference and look at a summary to see if I
Okay.
was picking up. And that helped me not need the summaries as I continue to read because I was learning that way. But it's everything's been done under the sun. Now it's just rearranging a couple of notes here and there to make a different song. But the songs have already been written.
Yeah.
They're written thousands of years ago. It was sort of eye-opening for me because now I watch modern entertainment. I'm like, oh, that's
It's already
I
been
remember
done
that in Sophocles' play. Or oh, Monty Python, that's just Aristophanes. Same thing.
Which do you think the human race could get out of that and bring something new to the table, or do you think it's pretty much just the old song and dance?
I don't know. Good question. I mean, there's been some attempts with like music concrete and the atonal movement in classical music, but
Mhm.
it's different, but it's never as good, I don't think. So I don't know. I'd have to give that. I'll give that some thought. Try to think is what's really outside the box that's great nowadays. You could say like the Beatles came out and changed the world, true, but they were just doing blues at the
Yeah.
beginning.
Okay, so and we'll end on this. And the type of writer that I am, and I've got some historical pieces that I've got written that are big budget. Hopefully one day somebody give me money to make them. I like to take real world experience, real world thoughts, real world expression, and make movies about it. I mean, The Warrior is a prime example of that. Yeah. This right here is one of my first short films. I shot this in LA.
Oh, cool.
And it takes I'm obsessed with spirituality, like the spirit of something, or you can say ghosts, but if you put somebody in a certain situation, how they would react to it. Or you're thinking about your life and examining what the good things are where your life was and the bad things are with your life. So I did a short film called The Window, and it's about a little kid, and it's deeper than when it perceives, and hopefully people understand that it's deeper and it's not just words on a page or video on a screen. Is I wanted to have somebody looking at their life in a child's view before they die. So I have a little kid looking out of the window, and there's little scenes that are acted out in an area where it's sort of an artsy area of North Hollywood. And I wanted to have it where the actors are portraying something that happened in this guy's life. So it's sort of like a symphony, like a short that's a symphony.
Okay.
And there is a bit of racism for all the idiots out there. There is a little bit because it's toward the main character and the situations that he dealt with in his life. And let me see if I can turn it down a little bit because it does get it's a little loud because of the music. So this is called The Window, and I made this about 10 or 11 years ago, something like that.
No, I didn't say that, babe.
Oh, so Susan's lying? Take me home right now, you son of a bitch.
Why can't you just be a man?
you talking about, sir? I did nothing wrong.
I gotta hear your waste of space nigger excuses every fucking day.
Sir,
hey, shut your mouth!
Honey, will you please shut him up?
Don't talk to me like that.
Sorry, honey, but John's crying is driving me insane. No, sorry. No, I refuse to accept that.
Why don't you be a man?
Why'd you have to go and die?
Audio supervisor Noise.
Yeah, that's their kid's nickname. He's a friend of a friend.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a retard. See what I mean? I like to
thought that-
take life experiences and turn them on their head.
So let me express to you what I thought I got out of that, and you can
Okay.
tell me that I'm completely wrong. First off, music's very nice. Whoever did the music did a good job, like that. I thought the actor, the guy, was pretty good. Good. So my thought is, you were saying, like, I'm 57 years old, Derek. There are many times I look back on my life, relive moments. Oh gosh, could have done that a little different. I almost saw this little boy viewing his life in the same way, except he was doing it like backwards. Like he was reliving his future. That's kind of, I'm a sci-fi guy. Maybe that's, but am I right that the adult is supposed to be the kid
Yes.
in the future? Okay. So that's what I got. Like this kid is, it's kind of trippy actually, but he was
Yeah.
reliving his life that hasn't happened yet because I don't know.
You can look at it that way. I just wanted to make it where he's looking at his life in a child's perspective and not a judgment way, because kids don't judge. They take things as they are. So I wanted to have a kid's perspective of looking upon this guy's life, where he had racism, he got married, he had fights with his girlfriend, and he had a baby and all this stuff. I wanted to show that it mattered to him in some way. It mattered to him, and I wanted to use the little kid as sort of the bridge between life and death.
Okay, that's cool. I didn't think, the other thing I was thinking is he was projecting and imagining what his future was going to be like based on what he's seen around him, his environment. But
That's possible. I never looked at it that way, honestly.
you know what's great about writing, Derek? And this, when I write lyrics, and lots of times I write stories. So I'll write a story and then put music behind it. So it's like a narrative, which is why my songs are long sometimes, because the story needs more space. But there are times I've written something maybe 10 years prior, and I'll go back and reread it to work on it. I'll pull an old demo up, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh shit, that's what I meant when I wrote this. Like I didn't know what I truly meant while I did it. Sometimes it takes time for my brain to catch up to my pen in a way. And I'll go back and look at it and go, shit, maybe I meant that. You know, it's a never ending. Like, what did Ralph Waldo Emerson once say? Consistency is a hobgoblin of little minds. And I think writing or a piece of literature is a living entity that can mean different things on different days. And I think that's exciting to me. Like it's different every day.
Yeah, it is exciting to me. And I got the idea from, I can't remember, maybe I was looking out the window, like I was chilling at the house or something, or my apartment, and I was looking out the window at something, and I said, "What? It would be interesting if we had characters that were walking by my window, and I'm reflecting on what's going on there. That there's some sort of reflection or some sort of memory that's caused by that." So, I started getting obsessed with flushing that out, and I could have had it where like they were up against a window or up against like a brick wall and they were doing these characters. But I found this place and I was like, why don't we just do almost like a park and make it like kind of artsy where his brain is trying to process something that's beautiful and something that's fucked up at the same time. I wanted to add some sort of artistic background to it and I couldn't figure it out, and then we chose that, which I think it worked. I wish I had something that was better than that, but I mean, it was one of those things where it's like you gotta just jump in and you gotta go for it.
I think
And
the
then
minimalism of the piece was actually one of its charming points. Like, I
Yeah.
got it. The guy's getting, you don't need to expound upon these
Exactly. I
moments
don't have
in
to go
people's
into a whole
lives.
diatribe of
Get
the
it.
shit. You know?
Right. So that was really good. Have you ever thought about doing other like shorter films like that?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Shorter films don't get attention.
Yeah.
And there's some film festivals that focus on short films now, but they don't get attention. You don't make money on them. If that one's on YouTube, it's only 6 minutes long, so it's not getting ad revenue, so they're not pushing it. So there's just a lot of short films don't make money.
I guess it's kind of Pollyanna to say, well, you should just do it for the love of the game.
Yeah.
But I would imagine filmmaking, it would cost you more, I'm certain, to make a 10-minute short film than it would cost me to produce a 10-minute song.
Probably.
But I know the guy who has a studio, so that's
Yeah.
it. I don't have to pay anybody else, whereas you can't just do it all yourself. You need actors and stuff like that.
And as you like movies and you're a music guy, do you see out of the window and the warrior, do you see what my style is? Do you see what kind of message that I convey?
I'm afraid to be wrong. But if I could think of a word.
Don't be afraid. I'm asking you as a person that likes watching movies.
I think Warrior was a hopeful film, even though it didn't feel like it sometimes when you're watching it. But I think it's hopeful to me because I know you.
Yeah.
Now and who you became. So I'm like, well.
Yeah.
The second one, I'm trying to find a thread to the word hope. But it's hard to find in the short film because it seemed pretty. Maybe the music made it seem more dour than it was meant.
Yeah.
But there wasn't really a message of hope there. It seemed like a message of inevitability.
Yeah.
But that's
Or
what I got. Those are the emotions I've.
Yeah, inevitability. Yeah.
Like the kid's already lived his life already, and he hasn't even lived it yet.
But like I like exploring emotions. The window is like a symphony. So I've had a couple people watch and say, "Dude, that's like a symphony on fucking video."
Yeah, I could see that. There's different movements.
I'm a very artistic guy. I'm a very spiritual guy. I wouldn't say that I'm religious because I don't necessarily go to church, but sometimes I do. I don't go on a regular basis. I'm a very spiritual guy. I believe in God. I also believe in the power of storytelling and emotion and putting people in awkward positions or laughing at said awkward position, like the warrior. So hopefully my art mimics how I am as a person, and I think it does. And obviously, I'm looking at it at one person's perspective, me.
Yeah.
But I think that my art mirrors who I am.
Yeah.
And
say musically, same for me. But again, I also realize that the creations of ours are like babies, and once they get released into the world, it's not up to you to judge them anymore.
But good artists
then you have
write about what they know. You know what I mean?
Right. And you hope, you know what? I'm past even hoping people get where I was going. I'm just excited to hear what their vibe is when they hear it. Because I may learn from somebody about something I created.
Yeah. Oh, because I always say it before, not everybody's going to like what your art is.
No.
You're not going to satisfy everybody. And if you think like that, then you better not be in the art game. Because not everybody, what you make, everybody's going to like.
Yeah. Plus, I can't help what I write. It just comes in my head. So it's not like I sit down to do it.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it is. So,
but yeah, I had a blast doing this and deep diving into the art aspect of acting.
I loved it. It's great.
And how I proceed acting, and then I liked how you perceived it as a fan of watching it.
Mm-hmm.
So two different perspectives from the artist and from the person that likes watching said art.
Mm-hmm. And in the end, it's all art, and we're both artists in one way or another. And Tom Hanks is an artist, so despite how popular you are, like we talked about, I think the process is kind of similar.
I think it's
no
kind
matter
of
who you are.
I mean, with your music, you're kind of telling a story, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Even if there's no, like, I've written instrumentals that I was trying to invoke a story.
Yeah,
with no words.
And the same thing is there's songs that you can go to that you remember a certain time in your life that you heard that song and it just hit you. So it's definitely I think the same mindset, even though the art's different. It's a similar mindset. So. But all right, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and end the stream. Man, we went 3 hours. This is the longest one we've done.
It didn't feel like 3 hours.
It did not feel like 3 hours.
I just looked at the clock. I'm like, holy shit, 3 hours.
Not at all. So thank you so much. This is so much fun. I'm having a blast doing these Sunday.
Me too. And, appreciate you having me on again. Thank you.
No problem. And yeah, I'd definitely like to start doing guests and all that. But I thought, for us to get some shows underneath of our belt and get some cohesion or whatever that you want to call it as far as like
chemistry,
how the show goes and stuff like that. And I would love to start having actors on and asking them different questions and stuff like that. So that'd be awesome. So
I'll do my research, so I'll be ready.
Yeah. So I want some of the people, like I'm going to talk to Vince, who we had on a couple weeks ago on BTM. And one of his musicians was one of the actors in the Temptations movie, the 2-hour or the 2-part miniseries came out. I don't know, probably 15 years ago. I don't know if you ever saw that. You can watch it on YouTube for free.
I will.
It's like a 3-hour movie. It's Temptations, and his musician does acting on the side, and he plays Eddie Kendrick. So I want to talk to him. So I'd love to have him on there, just to kind of see like. He's a music guy, so you probably have a lot in common with the guy. But then, like, how much pressure he had being Eddie Kendrick on the Temptations, like, or did he have any connection with the Temptations before doing the movie? So questions like that, I love doing.
You're like a modern day James Lipton. You know who James Lipton is?
Yeah, I do. Inside the Actor Studio.
If you were a tree, Vince, what kind of a tree would you be?
So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I appreciate you. And we'll talk to you next Sunday, high noon.
Do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah.